XboxEra podcast is powered by you. And if you want to support us, you can do so via Patreon. Just head to patreon.com/XboxEra. And as a thank you for your support, you get cool stuff and we get to keep doing what we do. Now let's get into it. Hello friends and welcome to episode 106 of the XboxEra podcast. I'm Sik and Nick and I'm joined as usual by Special Nick.
What's going on?
And returning from a cave with a beard longer than the hair on my back, it's Randall 419. How you doing, Rand?
Have you not seen the updated picture, John?
I did.
Yeah, he's shaved it all. He cut it all.
It's all gone, buddy. It's all gone.
Well, now
you haven't
my
seen
heart
it?
is broken. No, I did not see that.
It's completely gone. Everything's
gone.
gone. Hair's gone. Beard's gone.
It's back to the way it used to be, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically back to the way my avatar looks.
Yeah.
Trim and proper.
Because I'll never be on camera. So.
I thought
no matter how many times Nick asked me to be on camera, I never will be.
I don't get it. Especially when you've already posted photos. You've already posted photos of yourself, so I don't understand why you don't go on camera.
I totally get it. Here's why.
Why?
Here's why. I'll tell you what's great. Right? Off camera, you can just relax. You can be sitting in his pants. He could be sitting in his dressing gown. He could be like spooning in a bowl of cereal and just muting his mic. It doesn't matter. You know, on camera, you've got to be presentable. And I get it. It's it's fair. I can understand it.
I don't know if that's the reason.
He's got the clout. He's got the 90k subs or whatever. He's got the clout.
Not yet. I haven't made a video in like 2 months. So
really, you've been relaxing.
Yeah, it kind of was. I was kind of burnt out, I guess.
Is that why you reached out to be on the show?
You reached out to me.
I love it.
Rand's like, Nick, hey, Jez cancelled. He's gone to a mountain. Can I jump on? I was like, Rand, no worries, buddy. Let's go.
Every time Jez canceled the show 2 weeks ago, and Nick was like, "You want to be on?" And I'm like, "No, I got plans." So every time this happened, they blame Jez for canceling Xbox 2 this week because he's out there visiting a castle in the mountains. So
it's a good excuse.
I guess we're doing a show on Monday because some people are like, "Is Xbox 2 are you canceling the show for good?" Because you've canceled 2 episodes this week or this month, and I'm like, it's just, hey man, Jez got a girlfriend, is doing stuff, and
he's
kind of like
a podcast with other people now.
Miles, Checkpoint,
Miles coming in with his chiseled jaw and his giant hair.
Which though, Miles will push back on you saying it's a podcast. It's not, because I've said
it's a YouTube show.
It's a YouTube video. That's not a podcast.
That's fair.
I mean, I could always just replace Jez when he doesn't show up. I've said that to you before.
That is true, and Colt has always been like, if Jez doesn't show up, you can just add me. And it's like, that's true, but we'll probably do that show before the summer show where I get a whole bunch of people on again, like last year. It was fun.
That was cool.
It was fun. Remember last year when they were going to buy Avalanche and NetherRealm and IO Interactive and all those studios?
Yeah.
That was good times. Good times.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
It was so funny. The lead up to that E3 was all like, it's going to be a good show. And then like 2 days before, it was like Microsoft are buying the entire universe. Everyone brace yourselves. And it was out of control. But hey, video games, the subject of this show, funnily enough. You guys been playing any this week? Have you actually been dabbling or have you been ignoring everything? What about you, Rand? You been playing any games?
I played a little bit of NBA 2K22 last night.
Any good?
Yeah, it's fun playing with buddies.
Was it like buddies around your house or around the TV kind of, or just online buddies?
Just online. I was playing with Dealer and like Gaming Forte and Colt and stuff. It was a good time because we played a lot of 2K21 team up and stuff, and it's fun to play. Other than that, I haven't been playing much. I tried out Fortnite no build mode. Never like I had played Fortnite with the building, and I absolutely despised it. Like I hate the building in that. So I played it with no build mode, and it's like it's much better, but I still just not for me. I guess I don't know.
So
but half the tweets I see of Nick on Twitter of him like spending money in Fortnite. So
Moon Knight came out.
Keeping epic afloat.
Moon Knight. I got Moon Knight straight away.
How much did that cost you?
They selling. It's weird the way they structure it. Sometimes they do bundles. Sometimes they do the character on their own with their harvesting tools separately. So Moon Knight was on his own as 1,500 V-Bucks, and then his harvesting tool, which are his glaive things, were 500. So 2,000 V-Bucks altogether, which is like that's a lot of money.
Yeah. How many characters have you bought? So you bought like Kratos, Master
Chief, Aloy, Captain America, Chun-Li and Ryu, John Wick, Moon Knight,
Spider-Man.
Yes, MCU Spider-Man. I've got so many skins.
How much money is that? Is that well over $100?
A lot of money. I've spent. God only knows how much money I've spent on Fortnite. Like it'd be hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Hundreds of dollars.
And how much have you spent on Halo Infinite?
$20.
You bought the cat ears? Okay.
I bought the cat ears. I bought the Iron Man color. I was like 343.
I appreciate this is a tangent, Nick, but I know I have to get it in here because you mentioned John Wick.
Yes.
I read recently that the director
Streets of Rage,
Wick, who also starred in the Matrix movie. 10 points if you can guess who he played in the Matrix movie. The director of John Wick.
Director of John Wick.
Yeah, he was a character.
The original Matrix or the new Matrix?
The new Matrix. 10 points if you can guess who he played.
Barely paid attention to that stupid movie.
Okay, he played Trinity's husband in the Matrix.
Did he really?
Yeah, but he's making Streets of Rage. You mean
Streets of Rage movie?
Freaking pumped at that combo of people, right?
That is like keep it simple, guys. It's just a movie about people punching the shit out of each other. Keep it nice and simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Have them walking the streets. Have an amazing techno soundtrack. Keep it simple. Just like John Wick. John Wick is nice and simple. You kill my dog, I'm going to kill you. Nice and simple. That's it. That's all you got to do.
It's got a little bit overcomplicated now, John Wick. The whole John Wick universe. Having said that,
You reckon?
I don't know. The whole going into the desert to meet with the guy, because you.
Yeah, got his finger chopped off.
It was a bit odd, but I'm fine with it. I'm okay with it because it's fun. But
yes,
I think Nobody was the better John Wick. If I look now, if I cold light a day, Nobody would.
Nobody's a good movie. I like
it.
Nobody.
Great. It was one and done.
Streets of Rage from the director of John Wick is like, bring it on. Isn't it funny that like that's the part Sega nails? Movies.
Yeah.
Like the Sonic movies are legitimately great. They're not just good as video game movies. They are good kids movies. Like they are just good.
It's okay.
Nah, they're good. The Sonic movies are good.
I haven't seen the sequel.
Oh, haven't you? No, Sonic 2 is. Sonic 2. Sonic 2 to Sonic is like the game. Sonic 2 to Sonic. Like it is. Right. It's so good. Okay. It is. Man.
I'm there for it. I can hear Rand.
It's great.
Rand's palpable excitement at the idea of Streets of Rage movie and a Sonic movie.
Right, I mean, I love me some Streets of Rage. So, and if it's a John Wick director, it could be pretty good.
The fight scenes could be really, really cool.
Oh,
they need the composer.
They have to get Kishiro. I think the surname is Kishiro, but I'm blanking on the first name. But they have to get that composer. Like the music has to be, yes, the music has to be spot on. Has to be like that music in Streets of Rage is just like, it's next level. It is next level.
Well, we'll see. Maybe in 2025 or whenever it gets made.
It's a movie about punching people. It'll be out next year. Like, come on, how long is it going to take to make a movie about punching people up?
Choreograph the hell out of it. It might take a
That game had a lot of knives, too. There's going to be a lot of stabbing.
Yep.
I wonder if they'll do, like, the super moves.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll go to the effort of having the super moves.
I hope so. Make it fun.
It'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Like, will they do, like, the grand upper and full-on have his hand in flames and... That could be very interesting.
I foresee a GIF at some point in the future of you doing this. Like, it's going to happen. The internet's going to do
I did not even take that angle. That was all you just did.
Is Creakey Legs watching? I mean, I don't know. But yeah, and it's worth mentioning, the chat's just mentioned it as well. But Streets of Rage 4, if you haven't played it, and I know, Nick, you absolutely have.
It's leaving Game Pass.
It's leaving Game Pass at the end of this month. So
play it.
Play it before it does.
Short game. Doesn't take long to beat it. It's a very short game.
As it should be.
You can beat it in a couple of hours.
I haven't played it, so I should probably give it a go.
It's perfection.
I'll see what I can do. But have you been playing anything, Nick? Have you been just Rocket League, the usual?
Rocket League and Fortnite, but I got the full 1000 on Tunic.
Nice. Virtual high five. I've also got the full 1000 on Tunic.
Like... It's funny, I had really stalled on Tunic. I had really stalled for a bit. And I had hit a bit of a wall, and I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. And then I realized you can pray. You can pray in front of stuff. And as soon as I realized you can pray in front of stuff, it just opens the game right up.
Yeah, mate, you need to read the manual a little bit here.
Yeah. I didn't have that page.
How did you miss that page? It's like one of the early pages.
No, I didn't have that page. That manual is stunning. That manual, though, when you have it all together, it is gorgeous. Like, it's just like those old video game manuals, like exactly to a T. Like, it's gorgeous. And as soon as I learned how to pray, I'm like, man, I got so immersed into the game after that. I was just sinking hours in. I'm just like, nah, I have to do this now. And started getting everything and all the abilities. And I wanted to find all the fairies and all the treasures and all the, just everything. So good. Did both endings?
Yeah, I've done all. I've done it all. But real talk, did you figure out the golden path on your own, or did you look up a guide?
The golden path.
Opening up to get the last page. So the big up, down, left, up, down, right, up.
Oh, no, I used the guide.
Okay.
Because those things never worked for me. I followed the rules of up, down, left, right, and then it wouldn't work. I'm like, I don't understand why it didn't work. I followed what it should be, and it never worked. So I just used the guide.
I got as far as figuring it out, and then it wouldn't work for me. I was like, man, I'm sure this is right. Let me compare it. And I'd missed like one turn or something like that. I was like, so that's
it's such a good game. It's so unashamedly old school though, like in the best way.
Yeah,
like it is a game from our time. It is 110% a game that could have come out in 1992.
It's lovely.
Like 100%. Like that is not a game for children.
No,
like at all. Like, Ari saw it and he's like, oh, I want to play it. And I thought, oh, yeah, I'll turn on God mode for him. But I'm like, nah, man, he's got to figure out full-on puzzles and stuff. Like, he's not going to get anywhere. Yeah. Like, it's obscure. A little bit more
thought. Yeah, there's some very obscure puzzles in it as well.
And it also showed me how much... I don't want to say how much... It showed me how much I've changed as a gamer. But, like, there's stuff in that game asks of you... that is stuff that back in 1992 you thought of and you noticed back in 1992. But in 2022, you don't anymore. Like I remember playing through Tunic and, every time I'd go back into his little house, I'd see on the wall there was a tarp thing and it had that pattern. I'm like, what is that? And I'm like sitting there, I'm like pressing up, down, right. I'm trying all these different... And this was before I knew you were supposed to do that. This was near the start when I first started playing the game. I'm looking at the wall, I'm like, that pattern's on the wall for a reason. And throughout the game I'm playing and I'm seeing all these patterns on walls and stuff. I'm like, man, these patterns have to be here for a reason.
Yeah.
So that was the older gamer in me coming back, noticing little things like that.
The first one I noticed was when you're in the castle and there's the rug that goes all the way up the hall. And
and it's all over the...
Why? And I just literally was like, no way. And I just did it. And
Yeah.
I was like...
What about that room? Like, I went into this room super early in the game where there's a little pool of water. And it's reflecting on the wall. And all over the wall, you see all the zigzag. And I'm like, this room is empty. What am I doing in this room? No. At the time, I was looking for something in the room. And I'm like, this is just an empty room with water in it. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, but it's cool how the water's reflecting on the wall. I didn't even realize that was a pattern I was supposed to check and, like, take note of.
It was really good. It was really good. Did you play Tunic Round?
No, I did not. But a bunch of my friends did. In fact, Maka made a bunch of guides for it. I want to know. I know you love Rocket League, Nick. You gonna play Rocket League without the soccer ball, the no ball Rocket League thing?
Did that just get advertised today?
I think so. Yeah.
Is that a mode in Rocket League you're talking about?
Let me see if I can find it. I think it's like a mode within Rocket League with no ball. Yeah. So it's like, it's like the no building in Fortnite. It's like get rid
Knockout Bash? Is it Rocket League Knockout Bash?
Believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched the trailer for it, but it popped up on the Discord because we have a channel that just takes the feed from Xbox's YouTube channel. And when I jumped in this morning at 3:05 a.m., Rocket League Knockout Bash trailer. I'll check that out. I don't know what it is. I haven't watched the trailer yet.
Our wonderful producer, aka Doncabesa, has queued up some footage right now of it, and it's playing alongside our beautiful faces, minus Rand. Beautiful cartoon.
They're calling it a battle royale, essentially.
Interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Every game's got to have a battle royale.
I might have to play that now.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah, I'll try it out.
It is out in 4 days on the 27th.
I've been living in 2019, and I finished my 10th run of Hades a couple of days ago, and completed it as much as you can. I didn't grind everything out, but I got the ending, and I loved that game. And now I'm kind of like, I don't know what to play. Like, I keep dabbling in things. Like, I've got stuff downloaded. Maybe I'll do Straight to Rage 4 as my next thing.
There's a game that I'm reviewing next week, John, that you might like if you liked Hades.
Which is
Rogue Legacy 2.
Rogue Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll check it out. I just, at the moment, like I kind of, and this will lead us and segue us in nicely into Halo chat. Is that going to be a fun conversation? No, but I haven't played Halo in like a month because of stuff, and like I've not had a lot of energy to play games. Like, really sadly, and I'm sure you guys would have seen it on Twitter. Like, my cat was run over yesterday, which is yeah. And do you know what's really horrific? I was in bed, my Ring doorbell goes off. Like, as an old lady, my kids are like, "Oh, can we answer the door?" I'm like, "No, don't fucking answer the door." And then I'm chatting to this old lady through the Ring doorbell who clearly has never dealt with a Ring doorbell before. So she's like, "Hello, do you want a cat?" And I'm like, "Yes." "Is it a black and white cat?" "Yes, I have 3 black and white cats." "Is it a small?" I'm like, "Potentially, yeah." Why are you knocking on my door? And then she was like, "There's one that's been hit by a car." And I'm like, "Oh, feck." So I pull on my dressing gown and I go marching on the road. Yeah, it was the cat. And if people have been listening to this podcast for over 2 years, my cat Pickle was hit by a car a couple of weeks into moving into the house I'm in now, was killed. We had to bury her and all that sort of thing. It was horrific. Gherkin, the spiritual successor of Pickle, has gone out in exactly the same way, on exactly the same bend of road, in exactly the same place. Yeah, it was horrific, man. And we had to tell my kids yesterday, it's my son's 8th birthday tomorrow. The mood is not great. And the kids were sad. And her sister, because she's got 2 cats, they're brother and sister and sister, and she's just like, wow, like looking around, and I'm like, "Oh, mate, it's bad. It's just been a bad couple of days, so there hasn't been much time for video games."
All my friends keep losing their cats, and mine still keeps hanging around.
The thing is, someone said to me on Twitter the other day, in classic, the internet has no feelings. Like, "Oh, you've had 2 cats die in 2 years. Maybe you shouldn't let them out." And I'm like, I personally think keeping a cat indoors all the time, unless they're an indoor breed, is mean. So my solution would be to not get any more cats.
We're doing that with ours now. We're keeping ours inside for a week, just to see something because she's got this skin thing, and we don't know if she's going to other people's yards and getting something, and it's causing a skin issue. So we're keeping her inside for a week. Oh my god, she goes crazy. I can't deal with it. I just want to throttle her.
Cats want to be outside, and plus litter trays stink. So anyway, so sad week. But yeah, I haven't played Halo in a month, and I don't know if that's going to necessarily change until May. But we had
before we cover Halo though.
Go on.
Before we cover Halo. Yeah, Faisal has a super chat right from the start of the show, but we got very chatty. I have returned. The show can now start. I think that was like before the show even started.
Wow. Well, he was right. The show started when he returned. So
yes.
I hope he's watching live for once. Bless him. Thanks, Faisal.
Yeah.
But yeah, Halo. Lots and lots of news, good and bad, out of the Halo camp. And for the purposes of the audience watching at home or on your phone, wherever you are, we'll try and keep this balanced as best we can. But
there's nothing to balance. There's nothing to balance.
In terms of the conversation, let's try and let's take it easy. Let's take it simple. Let's cover the actual news. And Rand, you've probably got an opinion on this as well, right? But they came out yesterday. They detailed season 2, when to expect season 3. They detailed a roadmap, talked about Forge, open betas, campaign co-op online, and all the other stuff.
It's less of a road and more of a court or a laneway.
It's a very thin road.
I think Nick is going to be negative during the segment.
Yeah, I'll try and be semi.
You need to balance it out a little bit, John.
I'll try. But
what about you, Red? Why don't you balance?
I'm the wild card, so.
All right. Well, look. Okay. So here's the general take. So, as part of this, we know we're getting Lone Wolves. We're getting 2 maps: 1 arena map, 1 BTB map. The season is now confirmed to be 6 months long. There's a bunch of game modes that were obviously previous Halo titles, except for Halo 5. They're on launch. They're not here now, so they're drip feeding them in. We've got packs and skins and all the other stuff and fractures. But outside of that, the only other thing to look forward to in that sort of season 2 bracket is a beta of Forge in September. Which I can't speak too much about in terms of details of features.
And there'll be co-op as well. Online co-op will come as well.
And there'll be online co-op, yeah. And then Season 3, nebulously...
And mission select.
So, I'm going to kick this off with...
Oh, man.
Well, we know where the wild card falls.
Yeah.
Nah, just 10 months to get mission select is just... Okay.
So I'm gonna kick this off with kind of how I worded it.
Hold on though.
Go on. What do you got?
But it was important enough to patch the tank glitch. Go on though.
Oh, don't get me started.
Yeah,
seriously.
I don't get patching that glitch now. Like,
oh my god, it's a glitch that affects
no one.
So few people. It doesn't break the game. It doesn't hurt anyone. Leave it alone. It's actually something that might get people to play your game. Leave it alone.
I think the speedrunning community aren't happy with that being removed either, to be honest.
But there's no reason to remove it. There's no actual legitimate reason to remove it. There just isn't.
Doesn't break anything. Yeah.
Like,
it's a silly one. But
they should rename 343 the Cut Off Your Nose to Spite Your Face studio.
That's a bit
seriously
of a mouthful.
I don't care. Just rename it. Come on, man. Like, what are we doing over here? Like,
John, insert some positivity, quick.
Okay. So here's basically ad verbatim what I tweeted earlier today, which weirdly enough, I'm not particularly popular on Twitter, but I feel for the team because I know a lot of the team quite well, right? But I still, as a Halo fan, 2 maps for pretty much the entirety of 2022. Yes, there'll be more maps in November, and there might be stuff in September when Forge is released, right? That maybe I don't know. But 2 maps, 1 really if you're only into Arena, and 1 really if you're only into BTB for the entire year is just not cutting the mustard. And I know I've seen a lot of people talking about And I hate calling for people's jobs, so I don't do it. And I've seen a lot of people doing it. I dislike reading it, right? Because you don't know the full picture. We're only operating off bits and pieces of info. But I have to wonder what additional support Xbox can and should be bringing to bear. Because I get team health.
Certain affinity?
Yeah, well, we know that, right? But I get that team health is a priority, and I understand it, and I think it's a great way to position it. But equally, you have to be cognizant of the fact that you are being held up to the same standards as Fortnite, Apex, Call of Duty in terms of what you're going to be delivering to your audience. And 2 maps and some modes that, from a fan's perspective, should have been there last year isn't quite cutting the mustard, right? And I'm sorry, like, I can't insert fake positivity. I'm not going to be like, oh, team health is important. It is
good,
but it's not enough.
Well, then we got to bring Jesse into the mix here, So
it's too long. It's not great. At least the one positive is there is far more content than the completely barren season 1 had. They got that going for them.
There you go.
Half-hearted attempt, but okay.
I'm not super. The main thing, I don't care about PvP personally. So for me, them delaying shit like that, I'm more annoyed that it's still until August for co-op, because that's what I really want to play. And I'm hoping these narrative events are something, but they're only a few weeks long, so I can't imagine they're anything too big if they don't stay in the game.
And narrative events
a lot of these modes.
Right?
Sorry?
Narrative events, just to be clear, that's a season 3 item.
No, there's 2 of them in season 2. One of them starts on May 3rd.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And most likely, thanks to Xbox One, we're splitting co-op.
Oh, what?
Because online co-op will be season 2, and then split screen co-op will be season 3.
Yeah.
I guess we needed OBM for this then,
Yeah, I think I would have brought some counterbalance to it.
Where is he? Where is OBM?
He's in the chat. Is
he in the chat?
He'll type something.
He was on Thingos. He was on which podcast was he on?
He's on so many.
Booms. He was on Booms, I think.
Oh, he may have been. He's like that.
I think he was on Booms.
I even see Miles Dompiers in chat too.
I know.
Yes, he is. I saw that too.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny? Did you see I was on Wandering Dutch's podcast?
I did. I didn't watch
the
it all
weekend mix-up.
I didn't have a week to spare.
That's normally, like, my wife goes, she's like, how long is this one going to go for? I'm like, I don't know. I looked a few of their episodes. About an hour and a half. Went for 4 hours.
Man, this is why I've got to keep you on a tight leash.
But,
shout out to the 200 people watching live. 200 real people, Hit that like button for the guys here. Nick, John, Jesse, for putting on a show every single week. They don't skip like Rand and Jez.
That's
Rand
right.
and Jez sometimes are just like, you know what? Our schedules just don't align this week. We just can't do the show, so...
John skips. I don't skip.
Hey,
it's Greek Easter this morning. I shouldn't be here. It's Greek Easter, and I'm here.
Dedication.
We were up till 1 a.m. last night. We're at the church lighting the candle. And here I am, still here.
Proud of you, bro.
What time is it for you right now?
8:30 in the morning.
Jeez.
Christmas. Now it's the annual XboxEra Grubsmas Specialtacular, mate. It's on his event list. It's an event now. Mate,
what is this, like the 4th time I've been on this show? It feels like it.
I feel like it's the 4th time.
3rd.
He says the 3rd, but I feel like I've been on more than 3 times.
We'll have to check. I'm pretty confident, including Xbox 4, this is the 3rd.
Yeah, remember Xbox 4? That was fun.
That was fun.
Although people said in the comments, like, man, Rand didn't talk. It was like, what am I supposed... Like, Nick's reading these comments from Discord that don't include me. Like, what am I... I'm not going to...
And Jez was very chatty.
Jez is always chatty.
He was playing...
Especially if you get him at, like, the right time when it's not too late. He will, like, chat your ear off about stuff and leak stuff. All the leaks.
Got to get him to drink a little.
On Dutch's podcast, did you see that we willed the Thor Love and Thunder trailer into existence? We were talking about that trailer. We're like, where the hell is this Thor Love and Thunder trailer?
But I thought everybody hates it because it's woke.
Is it?
What?
Is it
that's what I saw. Everybody hates it.
Did I miss something?
I guess so. I saw people hating on it because it's woke and it emasculates Thor.
But I thought we knew that Natalie Portman was Thor.
Yeah, but you know how these man babies are.
They were the same way when this run of comics that she's based on came out. I
was about to say, because that's in the comics that Thor becomes female in the comics. I haven't read the comics, but I just...
Well, people are upset, okay? There are people crying and upset about it.
Bless them.
Okay. I guess that's to be expected.
We've talked a little bit about the Halo roadmap. I don't think
there's super chats about Halo.
Fan is happy. Go on, what's the super chat say?
There's super chats about Halo. Flame. I admire them being transparent and calling them stuff like Forge or Beta. Just wish they applied the same to Infinite itself. Have a great show, fellas.
Yeah, Fortnite had the beta tag for years.
Oh, years. Years. Okay, Emil, imagine that. Xbox showcase certain Affinity announces mode for Halo. After that, certain Affinity is going to announce their project Suerte, new IP for Xbox Game Studios.
I think Suerte is a little bit far off, though. I don't think you're going to see that soon. But who knows?
Surely they're going to get acquired. Surely certain Affinity get acquired.
I mean, you got the CEO of the company liking tweets about it, so
it almost feels like they're asking to be acquired. It almost feels like they're asking.
Well, the thing is, Microsoft probably should get them before somebody else does, because the way how this video game industry is, it's like everybody's going to be owned by like one of five companies.
Embracer will step them up, or Tencent, or something like that.
And like
feels like
they've been working on Halo for a while, so if you lost them, it's not good. And didn't Xbox just lose like a Gears support studio? Splash Damage, right? Didn't they just get acquired by somebody? So, sometimes you just gotta put the money down.
Even Valkyrie that Sony bought had worked on Halo.
Yep. I think, and it's interesting that I'll mention this for the sake of, it's our content, so why not? But the one secret weapon that is good, that is coming seemingly in Season 2 with the beta of Forge, is Forge, right? So that is going to lead to... But there's a whole bunch of questions I have around that as well, in terms of, at the moment, the custom game settings in Halo aren't rock solid and aren't as in-depth as previous Halo games. So if that gets updated with Forge...
It was mentioned in the breakdown of the new modes that they were really focusing on it. At least for King of the Hill has like a ton of custom stuff, so they seem to be working on that. So
that's the cool thing, and we've got a new show being helmed by Forebear, which is DropPod, which is a little offshoot of You Had Me at Halo, where it's just very, very quick 15-minute episodes, just quickly discussing the latest news while this all comes out. It's got a very nice logo, which is also one of the sticker packs that is with this month's renewed Patreon stuff as well. So if you like that, we'll probably stick it on a t-shirt at some point. But worth checking it out if you haven't watched DropPod yet. I think the guys are pretty happy with it, and we'll keep refining it as we go on. But Randy, you still playing Halo?
I will come back to Halo when Certain Affinity brings their Warzone Battle Royale hybrid to the game. That's when I do want to play co-op. Because I played through the campaign twice in the review build, and even when I was playing it, I was like, man, this would be a lot of fun in co-op. This would be a blast.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll play that, and it's like, I never expected August to be, late August too, which might as well be September at that point, right?
Is that what they said?
I'm pretty sure they said late August. I could be mistaken. Late August.
Late August is what it says on the image.
It's probably like August 31st. And then I'm looking for I'm a battle royale guy. I'll just cut to the chase. Battle royales are my thing. Even though Halo's my love, and I played no game more than I played Halo 2 and Halo 3 and Halo Reach.
Yeah.
I just I feel like my tastes have shifted towards battle royale. You know what I mean?
It's interesting though, right? Okay, there's only one map.
But each match plays out differently. Like an arena and a big team battle match usually plays out the same way, where
Yeah,
like a battle royale can play out in many different possibilities. I mean, hell, I played 900 hours of PUBG, and we only stopped playing it because at that point it started to get stale. I put like 250 hours into Warzone, and at that point it was like, okay, we're seeing a lot of repetition, but my friends are waiting for Warzone to come, or this, what Jez leaked, battle royale, and they're going to Halo-fy it because it's supposed to be like AI on the map, kind of like a Warzone hybrid type of thing. My thing with, okay, so if we're going to talk about this roadmap, so it doesn't particularly impact me in any way because I'm not really going to come back and play the multiplayer, right? So
fair.
I kind of look at it and I just feel like it's just a disappointment at this point, right? Like, I look at Halo 3, and Halo 3 had 7 maps in its first year, post-release. And for this game to be built as a living, breathing, never-ending game, to only have 2 in comparison to Halo 3's 7, it just I don't know, it just to me the word is just disappointing. Yeah. Now, you know, I know people will always bring up, and it is true, like most live service games really do struggle the first year for the devs to find their like comfort zone or their groove to kind of get around what works and what doesn't work and stuff like that. And that is true. You know, Sea of Thieves' first couple seasons, where I was told weren't very good. Warzone kind of stumbled, you know, Fortnite, Warzone, or Apex Legends and stuff. So I guess like 343 just needs to find their groove to get what people want, but it's also kind of like I sort of feel like this shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
I feel like what I really want to know is the behind the scenes of Halo Infinite and 343's development, because okay, you already delayed it 1 year, which okay, great, awesome. I'm all for delays, but like I want to know what Halo Infinite was supposed to be like in 2020 at launch.
That's what I said. That's what I said a couple of weeks ago.
Judging from what we're getting now, what was the game like in 2020? I would love to be on the fly in the wall, right?
Oh yeah.
And I think everybody kind of gave 343's like, okay, take your time, and they came out and they're like, oh well, season 1's going to be 6 months because we need extra time to do stuff. Okay, understandable, because like one, I think hindsight, I think they launched the game at the wrong time. They launched it at Christmas. Everybody went on break, and then things broke. Big Team Battle broke. People hated the store. Progression, people hated. So, like, the first time they come back, they're like, well, we got to fix Big Team Battle and desync. We got to figure out stuff with the store. We got to do all these things. And they're like, okay, well, first season's 6 months. And people are like, oh, okay, well, it's a trek to May, but we'll get through it. And once May comes, it's fine because it's going to be seasons or 3 months after that, right? We're going to get content. You know, we just got to weather the first 6 months.
Watch out. It's an incoming Friday night. No one's paying attention. News drop. Boom.
Yeah. And then season 2 gets announced as like, okay, we got 2 maps coming, and people are like, 2 maps? Is that it? I was like, well, it's only going to be 3 months, and then we'll get more stuff.
Yeah.
And then the news hits, and it's like another 6 months, and you're just like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it's just, I feel for like the Halo guys that are truly like, you know, fed up with like playing the same maps consistently, right? And then you look at like the player counts, and you know, Halo's not doing very well on PC at this point. And last I looked today, it was like number 13 most played games on Xbox in the US, which I understand. I mean, I think that's a little bit low for Halo, but you know, there are a lot of other popular games there, so. Yeah. I do feel, though, that, like, because Jez is reporting that the Battle Royale thing from certain Affinity is either Season 3 or Season 4.
Yeah.
Season 3 would essentially be a 1 year anniversary.
The relaunch. It would be like the anniversary.
So it would be like a soft relaunch of the game. Like, but then again, is that even going to be ready? Maybe it's Season 4 and it's sometime in 2023. I mean, do you launch that right alongside Starfield? Would it get drowned out by the launch of Starfield and Modern Warfare 2? Do you wait at that point and be like, all right, we'll aim for Season 4? But then, hey, is Season 3 going to be 6 months too? Like, I don't know if they've said anything, but so to me, it's just kind of like, for one of Microsoft's biggest studios, working on Microsoft's most premier IP outside of like Minecraft, for a game that's been basically touted as a 10-year living platform, I feel like year one is going to go down with the word disappointing.
Yeah.
And I hope they can recover. I hope they can regain their player base. But, you know, these things, like these modes and these stuff are going to be good. I really, really, really want to know what happened at 343. I want to really want to know why is there only 2 maps? Is there a problem?
Yeah,
is there a problem with the engine? Is it hard to like make new maps in this engine? Like, I'm not a game dev, but like when I see that, I'm like 2 maps in a year. Like, is it that hard to make new map? I don't know anything about like.
It's
and then
almost
it's like. But then you get like King of the Hill. It's like King of the Hill's been like, okay, yeah, we're King of the Hill, but King of the Hill's a standard game mode and has been forever. Like, I don't know, man. Nick, I don't know, man.
What's Last Spartan Standing?
Well, now this is interesting because Randy was
I
saying
thought that was Battle Royale.
It is effectively.
I don't think it is. It's not. It's not.
I mean, it's
come
very
on.
simple.
It's 5 respawns is not Battle Royale.
No,
in
I
any
know.
way, shape, or form.
But it's
There's respawns in it.
you get
Each
5
person gets
lives.
five lives. Yeah, I'll
there
stop
is a
talking.
stream
I'm
as
sorry,
well.
John. Go ahead.
It's
I'm
all right.
talking too much.
No, it's a good thing. It's nice to have you on and it not be Nick's voice. But no, it's. I mean, I actually was going to ask you, Rand, because you were saying, you know, Battle Royale's your thing, and I think prior to Halo Infinite launching, everyone was like, it's going to have a Battle Royale. It's just a game mode. It won't take anything away.
I was saying
And-
that all the time.
Yeah, right. So, well, think about it. If it had launched as a Battle Royale, and then they were having to juggle that mode and the desire for content, and the arena mode, and the BTB mode, and God, can you imagine? But having said all of that, one, I think today's gaming audience, the reason Battle Royales are so successful is one, they're extremely watchable from a streamer point of view, right? That's where you get audience and people playing and wanting to emulate that win and blah, blah, blah. And two, they give you a different kind of buzz. Like, I love playing sweaty competitive arena games, but the biggest problem of evolution in technology for Halo Infinite is every game, social or ranked, is usually sweaty. It's usually pitting me against people equal to me or better. And in Halo 3 days, that was a little bit looser. You know, you would jump into social and it would be social. You know, you'd either stomp the other team or you just have a laugh. You wouldn't worry about it. But immediately you're getting people ducking and diving and doing all of that stuff. But when they announced this extra mode, Rand, and you were talking about Battle Royale, it popped into my head, this last man standing. Is that going to at least scratch an itch for you in terms of...
Not really, because
No?
I'm not a solo guy. It's
You
only
wanna
a
do
free for
team-based.
yeah. I want team based. It's a free for all mode, which I'm not interested
okay.
in. I don't play free for all Halo. It's 12 people with 5 respawns. And each time you kill somebody, you get like an upgraded weapon, I believe. I don't know if it's like for the weapon you currently have or a different weapon, but and the last person standing wins. And I think people think of it as a Battle Royale simply because it has a closing ring.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I was about to say the closing ring, but when you describe it, that sounds more like a twist on Breakout.
It actually sounds more like a twist on gun game to me. So you make a kill, and then you earn points, and then you can activate your token to get the next level up gun, and so on and so on. Whilst
Or maybe a
maintaining
mixture
your
of
life.
both. Because
It
Breakout had the
sounds like a
respawns and...
Yeah. It had the 5 lives for Breakout, didn't it?
Oh,
You know,
So
the
you
other
got
thing...
3. I think it was 3.
You mentioned your points about Battle Royale being very watchable, right, and not so sweaty.
Yeah.
And number 3 is that let's be honest here. Halo's for old people.
It is.
Halo's like gameplay is for the old dudes like all of us on this panel right now, right? It really hasn't changed too much since 2001. And when it does change, the Halo community freaks out, right? So you have this like I don't know, gaming I don't know what I would call it, but like the biggest gaming multiplayer resurgence in Battle Royale, and Halo doesn't have it. And I always said it needed it. You know, there's a group of people that are like, Halo doesn't need Battle Royale. You know,
Yeah, it
keep
does.
Halo. But it's like in today's gaming market, Halo needs it to be to actually be relevant, right? Look what happened on PC. It didn't have it. Boom, player count basically non-existent, right? On the console side, it's doing better, but it's already like number 13. Like, I would imagine it's just going to continue to drop. It might like go up here and there with release of Season 2, but it needs that. You look at the 3 most popular modes on Xbox. It's Fortnite, it's Warzone, and it's Apex Legends.
Yeah.
There's a reason, like, that is the mode people want. So, like, you need to figure it out for Halo because...
I said it.
Look, I love Halo as much as the next person, but young people, they're not into that old style Halo gameplay. They don't want to play arena and team. Big. They want to get in with their boys, and they want to like, where are we dropping? And like, that's what people want. People want battle royale, and you have to give it to them. So
this is the frustrating part, and tell me if you agree. I've been saying on this podcast for like ever and a day. The pieces of Battle Royale have already been there in Halo from the start, which makes it even more frustrating that they don't have it. Like, they have ODSTs that dropped. They have Big Team Battle, which was basically the Halo CE's Valhalla was one of the first giant maps in any first-person shooter, and you had groups of... You could have teams of 4 all taking each other down on this giant map. Like... The pieces were already there 20 years ago. And yet no one at Bungie even, or 343 thought, maybe we could have this mode. Like, Bungie thought of the ODSTs. Dropping in to a hub world where you have to scavenge for weapons. And I'm like, how did Bungie not think of this? They were right there on the precipice of Battle Royale and didn't even think of it.
I would imagine that back then because... maybe the servers that they were on wouldn't be able to have 100 people, right? Because multiplayer games weren't that big back in 2007 and stuff.
Have 50, have 40.
Well, maybe.
But the core principles of what makes a battle royale could have still been there. It didn't have to be an 100-player count. Like that could have come later.
And even then, Halo's battle, or the rumored, reported, leaked Battle Royale isn't 100 players, is it? It's a lower 60? Number.
No, I've seen like Tatanka with 100 bots, with 60 bots.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it and there is a little thing, I don't know if you saw it, Nick, where it says respawn and DropPod. So, like...
Yeah.
So it does sound like you will be dropping from the sky. So
that's right.
It would be,
but it won't be with an ODST.
No.
It'll be with your Spartan, which is... It's fine, whatever. It's just... I don't know. It's just frustrating that Halo probably should have had Battle Royale before anyone else did. And yet they have it well after.
It's frustrating because Halo launched in such a solid state, right? Especially compared to its contemporaries. Like Vanguard, not well received. Battlefield 2042... dead. It's like literally dead at this point, right? So people are like, "Oh man, the king is back. Halo's back, baby!" Right? And it had a great launch, and people are like, "Okay, we just need to get through the first 6 months," and then they hit you with this, and it's just like, it seemed like the momentum just kind of stopped, right? Isn't that kind of what it felt like? Like they
missed the layup.
They had this great launch on a silver platter where their competitors basically screwed up. And they like couldn't capitalize, and it just is disappointing. That's just the word.
They were Steve Bradbury. Everyone else had fallen over, and they were just going to ice skate their way to the gold, like Steve Bradbury did in the Winter Olympics all those years ago. Still couldn't get the gold medal. It's just...
I don't know. I think in today's shooter society, I think Rand's hit the nail on the head. Regardless of whether you like BRs or you don't, Halo should have had one, or almost has to have one to see some semblance of a success. And I get the old school's initial emotional reaction to it. If they're investing in Battle Royale, does that mean that there's not going to be investment in Arena or investment in BTB, which is where I want to play? And I think it's just the nature of the beast. Like it's keep up or die in the video game world, unfortunately. Like you'll serve your niche, but it won't be enough to keep your monetization going or fund development or keep it alive for X number of years, it will peter out. So
do I read this super chat from Armello?
There's one before that as well that I think you
is
missed.
it?
Yeah. Well, no, sorry, beg your pardon. It says message. I think Jesse's been going ham on the super chats. I'm presuming, and because I haven't read them, but I'm presuming that these chats may have read something along the lines of calling for a certain person's head.
No, this one was started with the words, "I don't care about Dev's health," and went from there. Yeah.
All right. So we'll go with these ones. Achievement. I think certain Affinity will wait for Microsoft to purchase them. Bungie held out for as long as possible, trying to get Microsoft to fit that bill. Well, like I said before, it feels like certain Affinity are almost asking for Microsoft to acquire them. And if I was Microsoft, I would do that.
Yeah.
Like, just get it done. How much could certain Affinity cost? How many staff are they? A couple hundred?
Yeah.
Maybe just get it done and stop wasting time there. Just make it happen.
They need more support studios for Halo, and certain Affinity is a good one, right? So
just let certain Affinity take over Halo full stop. Jesus Christ. Just repurpose 343 into something else, or spread all those staff out amongst all the other studios or something.
Oh, well, hey,
whatever.
I'm enjoying the Halo TV show.
Yeah. I haven't seen the 5th episode yet.
Oh, but what?
Apparently that's like the really good one. That's where it steps up. I've been watching Pam and Tommy. Sorry, I've been watching Pam and Tommy on Disney Plus.
Of course you have.
Hey, that's my era. That all happened in the mid-late 90s. Pam and Tommy. I was a high school kid back then, and I remember hearing about Pamela Anderson's in a sex tape. I'm like, I want to see that.
He remembers hearing, not he remembers watching it.
Hearing.
Mate, there was no internet the way we know it now in Australia back in 1996. There was no easy way to watch that tape. I was just like, I'm 15 years old. I'm like, I want to see that tape. Pamela Anderson. I really want to see that tape.
It's time for another Bluey tangent. I just watched yesterday with my kids. I watched episode 26 of season 3, which is the 80s fairy tale episode. Have you seen it?
No, but my little niece keeps quoting a line from it, saying, "It's not the 80s. It's not the 80s.
You have to watch it. It is gold. It is pure gold. I won't spoil it for you, but it's a good one. It's a good one.
My niece keeps quoting that line.
Yeah.
Without any context. She just says it to anything.
It was the 80s.
She's like, it's not the 80s.
Oh, anyway.
Dead Planet. The topic has been done to... that's not really related to this, but... Oh, yeah, I'll read it anyway. Dead Planet. The topic has been done to death, but Starfield needs to be the kickoff for fairly consistent, regular Xbox Game Studios releases. Period. Time's up. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've gone from wait for next E3 to wait for 2022, wait for 2023, wait for...
Xbox fans are used to waiting.
Wait for the next Halo roadmap.
I think Phil alluded to that, though. We joked when Phil was on that Xbox, has so many games coming in, and he was like, no. And I want
not
more
enough
games. So
not enough games.
Xbox. I said this during Miles' show last week, but Xbox needs to remember that January through August exists.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, and hopefully they will start to remember that early 2023.
Crackdown 3, the last great release during that period from Microsoft.
Great release? Excuse me?
Be quiet, Rand, please.
Hang on, please. I had a better jibe lined up. Rand, did you say you were on Miles' show?
I was on Chatter Days last week. Yes, Miles.
Nick, have you been on Chatter Days?
No, Miles has never asked me to be on his show.
Wow,
I didn't know it was a thing.
I've been on there like 4 times. I've been on there 4 times.
Miles has never asked me to be on. Miles has been on this show though.
Wow,
Miles has been on this show.
Yeah. I'm just going to let that hang there for a minute.
Okay.
Well, I mean, he also records his shows at 11 a.m. my time. What time's that for you, Nick?
It'd be like 1 a.m. for me, 2 a.m.
So.
I remember I was on Twitter last night at 1 a.m. because I'd got back from the church. And I'm going through Twitter and I see tweet from Miles. Show goes live in an hour. And that was 1 a.m. my time, which means it was going live at 2 a.m. I'm like, okay, I guess I can't be on that show.
It's a late one. We have got one more super chat on Halo before
yes.
we move on.
Mello.
Yeah.
Mello's one?
This is
this
walking
one.
the line.
This one's treading a fine line.
I'm not putting this one up.
This one treads a fine line. Like, yeah. This is what we say about our AFL coaches when we feel they haven't lost their jobs when they should have. These are the things we say about AFL coaches down here. How is Bonnie Ross still in charge of 343? Does she have picks of Phil in compromising positions? I need to understand. P.S. Love you guys, including Rand.
Oh, well, that was sweet. Including you, Rand.
Including you, Rand.
I know.
Even you.
I'm so unlovable.
Oh, man.
Now that you've shaved the beard, it's not too bad.
That's it. We've stopped ranting about Halo now. Look, we're all jaded Halo
I didn't even get going.
Yeah,
I'm impressed.
Probably a good thing that you haven't said much.
Like,
do you want a soapbox moment?
No, not really. I mean, like I said, it's all there in front of you. Like, at some point, the excuses need to run out. At some point. I don't think I've ever seen a studio have more excuses made for them than 343. Ever. No studio.
I wish everybody could see Jesse's face right now.
Like,
they're the most attacked studio out there.
Yeah, and they get more excuses made for them than any other studio. Like,
people having reasoned discussion back and forth isn't excuse making all the time just because they don't agree.
They're like 500 people. Like,
not all of them are developers and
two maps. Like, come on, man. Like,
you've also got to think if maybe they do have 10 more maps on the back burner, right? And if they suddenly pull them forward into the content, then they're like, when we do finally get our cadence sorted, that crunch is then extended much longer because we've got to crunch 10 more to fill up the gaps because we're stealing stuff.
But why does crunch keep getting... It's not like every studio on Earth crunches. Like, other studios get stuff done without crunch. Like, I don't know. I just, as someone who has always adored Halo is like the second reason I migrated to Xbox when Sega died. Halo's like the second reason. I don't feel 343 are great stewards of the Halo franchise. I don't like what they're doing to a franchise I love very, very much. I don't think that's being mean. I don't think that's being inflammatory. I just don't feel they are great stewards of this very important franchise. Like, Halo as a name, Halo as a name was like, back in the early 2000s, Halo as a name was like, it was almost there with Mario as a name. Halo. It was like off the charts huge. Like, everyone knew Halo the same way everyone knows Mario. Everyone knew Halo. Halo was massive. Halo 2 was a giant event. Halo 3 was an even bigger event. Like, and now Halo's just this thing. It's like, and 343, I don't care if you disagree with me, are responsible for that. From the Master Chief Collection disaster to Halo 4's multiplayer being just what nobody wanted except for SWAT. That's the irony of it. I loved SWAT and played the hell out of SWAT. SWAT in Halo 4 was amazing.
Halo 4, if you stripped out all the terrible mechanics, played great. You just had to strip up all the Call of Duty stuff.
Visually, still the best looking Halo. Visually. Halo 4 is... Oh, come on. 3D games don't generally hold up well, but there are exceptions to the rule. Throughout the span of video game history, there will be 3D games that will hold visually. Rise is one of them. Rise will hold. Even now, Rise is nearly 10 years old, still looks incredible at 900p. Halo 4 will be one of those games. Halo 4 in 2012... That is a game that should not have been possible on that hardware. Pretty. It should not have been possible. Halo 4 should not have been a thing that could happen on an Xbox 360. And on Series X, it could pass for a, Xbox One game. Maybe better. It is Oh my god, stunning,
very pretty.
stunning. But
At
then the multiplayer
sacrifice of lots of scale
was a write-off. And then Halo 5 came along, and sorry guys, no Forge. Oh, sorry guys, no split screen. Also, and then you've got weird little things like how Spartan Assault is everywhere, but then Spartan Strike is only on Windows. But it's not it's like the only Halo game that's not on an Xbox. Just these weird things. And then Halo 4 had the stupid terminals that were in a separate... No, Halo 5 had the stupid terminals that were in a separate app. And just... Oh my god. Was it Halo 4, was it? Oh, I thought Halo 5 had the Halo channel app.
Halo 4 dropped you out into the Halo waypoint, the Halo channel app to watch the terminals.
No, it didn't. Halo, the 360 didn't have the Halo app.
Yeah, it was Halo.
I'm thinking of the MCC. I'm thinking of it inside
Master
the
Chief
MCC.
Collection.
Yes.
Yeah. No. And like just little weird things like that. They just, again, they just do stuff. They just continually shoot themselves in the foot.
Well,
and
one last super chat to end the Halo segment from Sir Monte Carlo.
How are you, lovely gentlemen? Which Xbox studio should take over Halo if you wanted one to? Id Tech, drawn up. 100%.
Who would you pick? Let
Let Certain Affinity do it. Just buy them and let them do it.
That's not an answer because they're not an owned Xbox studio.
Okay, so but
they probably will
what would
be.
343 do if they weren't doing Halo?
Call of Duty.
I don't know.
Call of
Get
Duty.
Them to do,
so they put them on. They put them on Call of Duty. Okay.
Get them to do Recore. Let them do Recore 2. Let them do.
I don't know. I sort of feel like if they pulled Halo from 343 to go do something else, they just would shut down 343.
But there's still talent there. Like, you can repurpose that talent. Like, they've got a ton of studios. I'm sure you can spread all those people out amongst those studios.
I always said, like, hey, I would love to see what the Coalition could do outside of Gears, right? Because I feel like the Coalition, they're constrained by the Gears formula. Like, the game has to look like this. It has to perform like this. The character has to move like this, right? And so that's why I'm really excited, with Jeff Grubbs reporting and just saying that, like, they got a new game coming before Gears 6.
Yeah,
most likely a new IP. Because I'm thinking of the possibilities of, like, the Coalition Unchained without having to, like, have the, the roadie run and stuff. Like, what could the Coalition do? But there's a part of me but I've always wondered, because I always view the Coalition as, like, one of the stalwarts of Xbox Game Studios, right?
They're really good.
I would look at 343 and I'm always just kind of been like, I've never really wondered, like, I would love for them to, like, make something else other than Halo. I've never really thought like that. You know what I mean? Like, where I have with the Coalition. I would love for there to be spin-off Halo games that the 343 could make. I would, like a
Halo flood horror game.
Yeah, hey, we're gonna go visit Locke and see what he's doing in the third-person Halo game or something like that, right? It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't really. If I had to, like, rank all the Xbox studios, I don't think 343 is in my top 15 or 10.
No.
Right?
Not even close.
I don't know. And that's a shame because, like, they're the caretakers of Halo, the biggest IP. Well, not anymore, with Minecraft. And, like, I guess you can make an argument Elder Scrolls is bigger. Call of Duty will be bigger, right? So it's just kind of like, I don't know. And like, that's why, to me, like, this whole thing has just been disappointing because, like, it felt like for the first time they nailed it. They had this campaign that people really liked, finally, and then combined it with, like, a multiplayer people really loved, right? Because it was always out of sync. It was either, like, the campaign was bad, but the multiplayer was great, or the campaign was good, but the multiplayer was bad, right? So it's like, all right, finally, you've combined the pieces, your competitors have fallen, you've got the stage to yourself. And it's just like the momentum just stopped because you couldn't make any content. And I understand, like, hey, we need to, like, worry about work-life balance, which is great. But, don't be surprised if when you want to soft relaunch the game after a year or year and a half that people won't come back. Because people have their own games. Like, people give your game one look, and then, like, that's it. They're gone. They're bouncing. Yep. You know, people have their Fortnites and there's Rocket Leagues to play, and they're not really worried about what Halo's doing anymore. So,
can we talk about this work-life balance thing? Can we talk about this? Like, seriously, it seems like no one's talking about the fact that they have to struggle with work-life balance to do less than the bare minimum. Am I wrong? Like, they keep talking about work-life balance, and, well, because of work-life balance, we're going to get out less than the bare minimum. Isn't that a problem in and of itself? Yeah. That they have to crunch to do the bare minimum?
Well...
Is that not a problem in and of itself?
You could say that could be in some form indicative of what other studios are doing, because we've heard plenty of horror stories, right? And this is where it gets difficult, right? Because I am never going to sit here and say, no, I want you to sacrifice, your health or your free time to give me levels in a video game. That's not really my jam. I get the context behind what you're saying is that, like, no one is asking for 10 maps or Forge to be done next week. What people are, what the balance is,
I said bare minimum
to very little with that caveat of priority 0, which feels in some contexts, and it's a difficult conversation to have, right? Because in some contexts, by putting this weird, I've never heard the phrase priority 0. Priority 1, I understand that. Top priority. Priority 0, what? Like I don't know. What does that even mean? And it's like,
no priority.
You've made a marketing buzzword, to blanket the excuse. I don't like to use the word excuse, but it's the best one that I can think of right now.
I know, kind of is.
We're saying we can't do this. We need to stick to this priority 0 mandate. And I think that this is probably stemming from the epic amounts of crunch they've had to go through before with Halo 4 and 5, right? With the studio lead saying, okay, yeah, we're sorry, we're not going to do that to you again. And I personally, this is just pure conjecture on my part. I think that repetition and that conversation, that's something that's been born internally from those previous issues and problems that they've had. And I think to a degree, management are like, yeah, we know that this needs more, but we are not breaking our promise to our staff. And we're gonna put this internal language around it about how this is always the underlying priority 0, whatever they want to phrase it. But when you read it in a blog update to us, the general public, it feels like a weird marketing buzzword to talk about work.
No crunch.
And it's weird to read it in that without all of that knowledge and context behind it. It's just weird. It's really hard. We don't know all of the details behind what's going on. We don't know what else they're working on. We don't know the depth and the scale of some of the problems that they're contending with. And they have to walk this line between telling us every single piece of transparent truth and then eroding trust or causing problems for other management and other areas within Xbox, all of that jazz, and being transparent with their player base at the same time. I don't envy them. This is what I mean. I feel bad for them because everyone I know at 343 that works on Halo loves Halo as much as you or I do. But they also, they have this responsibility to the player base. And right now, the player base, speaking generally, are not satisfied with what's out on the table.
How many maps would have been
5?
Like acceptable? I guess
I think two of each would be grand. But it depends on where you're. If they said, this season is BTB season, here's 3 BTB maps. As an arena player, I'd be like, that sucks. But as a BTB player, you might be like, woo. I think 5's too much. I think 2 of each.
Really?
I think
3 arena and 2 big team battle.
I think you underestimate how much play testing and work has to go into to ensure consistent spawning, player containment, balance of gameplay over many games.
Okay. I understand all that because you make maps. I understand all that. But you're one person.
Yeah, sure.
343 has multiple people.
Yeah.
Like, can we stop? Just Come on, like this. You know better than I would what it takes to make a Halo map because you do it, and it takes you, a singular person, a long time. It's not one person working on Halo maps.
Well, yes. So I could forge a map in a day. I could forge a really pretty, looks amazing map.
That might play like crap.
And that's the rub, right? And it's great. And you can get 8 of your mates in to play test it, and they'll say they really like this. And then you can either immediately react to all that feedback and make a bunch of changes, or you can stick to your guns. And then you'll do another play test, another play test. And then, suddenly you might have to radically redesign it because you find a big weakness. And that's this big chunk of time and feedback that you have to really hone in on and know what to listen to and what not. And that's hard.
But guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what? There's another problem. That also assumes that at the end of that process, you're still going to end up with a great map, which A, is no guarantee. B, they still thought, hey, let's have SWAT play on Behemoth. All the SWAT players are like, why is this map allowed in SWAT? And then they realized after 3 months, maybe Behemoth shouldn't be a SWAT map, and they've now kicked it out.
Yeah.
So all this process you're talking about doesn't even guarantee a great end result anyway.
Yep.
So it's still ridiculous that there's only 2 maps. No matter which way you slice it, it's still ridiculous that there's only 2 maps.
Call this a... you had me at Halo Part 2, apparently.
Oh.
Anyway,
I can't believe we've been going for it over minutes? An hour, and
I'm sure chat looks just like Jesse looks like right now. And just like they're still talking about Halo.
Broken inside.
Last 2 super chats, and we'll move on. Last 2 super chats, because we could talk about this for like 5 hours. Mello, I apologize for the emotion, but I'm also tired of the excuses. Nick is actually on point right now with his Halo views. Thanks, Armello.
There you go.
Simonti Carlo, happy Easter to the great Nick and the fake Greek Jason. Much love, guys. 343 could make a new IP, in my opinion. Debatable. Yeah. Debatable.
Right, that's it.
Let's move on.
Has been drawn. No more Halo talk. All right, we're sorry.
Halo Dad. Let's move on. Halo Dad.
Don't worry. The dystopian future is realised because we're going to get loads of advertisements in our video games, right? Now, this is an amusing story.
Oh, my God.
Grand, help me out here. Help me out if I've got the timeline right. Earlier this week, Microsoft, or it was leaked by Bloomberg.
We couldn't talk about this last week because we had Ed Freeze on.
It was
it was last week.
2 Fridays ago.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Wait. Was it 2 Fridays?
Something like that. But Microsoft, this stuff leaked out that they were considering letting free-to-play games have placed advertisements in them as an extra way to monetize for developers, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But they were
something that's been in games since like the 80s.
Hey, I played NBA 2K last night, and there's ads for Mountain Dew and State Farm and stuff like that. So
airwaves in Splinter Cell. Do you remember that, Rand?
Yes.
I remember. When was that? 2002. I was like, "What the hell is he doing with some airwaves chewing gum?"
I remember driving down the streets of Burnout Paradise, seeing "Vote for Barack Obama" and billboards.
Crackdown had ads for Cloverfield on the billboards in the city. Those billboards were up. They could be updated. I don't know if it was in real time.
Those at least make sense, though.
But that's what this, I think, was about. Like, I couldn't believe the outrage. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm aware why the outrage existed. It's because Microsoft was doing it.
Yeah.
Because funny how we didn't hear much noise when all of a sudden it came out that Sony was thinking about the same thing.
Imagine
all of a sudden it wasn't as big a deal anymore.
Well, because when it was announced for Microsoft, everybody was like, "See, I told you this is what Game Pass would lead to.
Yeah, I know.
They'd have to put ads in these games." And it's like, did you read the article, or is this free-to-play stuff? Game Pass is unsustainable. They need ads. It's like, okay. And then PlayStation does it, and zoop, everybody's quiet.
Yep. Nothing.
Everybody doesn't have anything to say.
Fun fact, everyone. Microsoft and Sony, back in Gen 6, already had specific companies that were doing this stuff. All Microsoft's plan was, instead of having a separate company do it, they were going to do it in-house. That's the only difference, geniuses. Like, advertising in games has been a thing. There is a video game called Cool Spot. which is an entire video game based on the 7-Up spot.
Yeah.
Like, advertising in video games is not new. When I heard this story, I'm like, weren't they already doing this like 10 years ago? And they did. Microsoft had a very specific company that helped with getting ads into games. Product placement, billboards. Doritos Crash Course, anyone? One of the most popular Xbox Live Arcade games, literally called Doritos Crash Course. Like,
here's a challenge for Jesse to keep him on his toes. Does anyone remember? I might be showing my age here. Does anyone remember Pushover on the Amiga? And it was sponsored by Quavers, of all things, which is I don't know if you have them out there or in the US, which is a cheesy, funny shaped crisp. And if you can't find footage for Pushover,
how is that a challenge?
I don't know.
There
you would find the specific.
You literally just type in Pushover Amiga and there's 900 results.
Yeah,
YouTube's got everything, man.
There's a little thing with Quavers in it, but there was also Zool, which was sponsored by Chupa Chups.
Yes,
and it had Chupa Chups levels.
We've talked about this on this podcast. It's funny, and it was hard for me to say something on Twitter without getting attacked, because unless you watch the show, you wouldn't know. I've said, I actually like advertising in my video games. I've said this before. It makes the game feel more real for me. So when I used to play Sega's arcade games and I'd see Coca-Cola signs or Pepsi signs, I'd be like, oh, cool, I'm in the real world in this video game. This is the best. Anyone who's played Crazy Taxi will know that entire game is one giant ad. You drop off people at Pizza Hut. You drop off people at KFC. You drop like this. How I couldn't believe this was even news.
I'm so happy that Jesse has found that advert.
Which advert?
That in 25, 30 years.
What?
Sorry.
The Quavers Amigo.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yes, you're right. It's been a thing for ages.
Sony's done it before. Many times. As far back as the PS1. Like, it's not...
Your two favorite games, Nick, are nothing but advertisements. Fortnite and Rocket League are non-stop cross-IP
Fortnite, anyone who plays Fortnite is one giant ad. Like, I don't understand how this... I mean, again, I do understand because it was Microsoft doing it at first. Now that Sony's not doing it, far less of a controversy all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like...
I think people are just worried about the implementation of said ads. Right,
but didn't the article say it was going to be like in-game billboards and blah 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 blah
blah?
It wasn't going to be watch a video to keep
But that's
playing.
what people think. People think like, like what NBA 2K did a couple years ago, where they actually you had to watch an ad before you played the game in the $70 version of the game that you bought. You
in the loading screen,
yeah, or whatever. People, that's what they think. Is to be like, oh, you need to reload your gun, but first, here a word from our sponsor, right? And you got to listen to them say something before. I'm just saying, like, people's minds go to, a horrible ad implementation, and they think it's going to, like, ruin. And then they think, well, yeah, it's just free-to-play games for now. And then once people accept free-to-play games, then they'll move on to the games that you pay full price for. So...
Even Nintendo does it. Nintendo. Did everyone forget that Mario Kart 8 has Mercedes cars in it? Like... This has been an ancient thing in video games. Product placement, ads, this, that, the other. Like, loading screens having them. Loading screens have had ads for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, it's just... Perfect Dark had Samsung plastered all over its pause menu and in its loading screens. Like,
I mean,
where
people
have you all
forget
been?
when you would get your Monster drink in Death Stranding, when
Oh, but that's not as bad. Because when Kojima does it, he does it in like this genius, abstract way where he's making you think about commercialism in the world and blah, whatever, man.
Yeah, he still took a check from them though. So
you had to reload your batteries, Energizer batteries in Alan Wake.
Yeah, they were Energizer as well.
Yeah, they were, and Verizon was the mobile carrier powering Alan Wake. Like, seriously, people, get over it. It's like ancient. It's been around for 30 years. It's not
going to result in a dystopian future, basically.
I want to see. Here's what I like. Fortnite is one giant ad already. And
it's amazing.
So like I could see like ads and that stuff. Like okay, but like
More ads.
what sort of ads are you running in Halo Infinite, right? Because at least in those other games, you can at least be like, okay, well, the ads make sense. Like Halo's set in this futuristic world. Like it wouldn't be right to be I'm chasing someone down a corridor and here's a thing for Mountain Dew pops up or whatever, right? So I was thinking you could do a promotion with the TV show and be like, make sure you got your Manscaped for Master Cheeks. You know what I'm saying? You get like a little partnership going on there, which I think I've said this joke on Xbox too, but it's like because I struggle. Like, what sort of advertising could you do for Halo Infinite? In Halo Infinite, since it's a free to play game, like I struggle.
They could have done I've said this. They could have done an Iron Man set of armor customizations for multiplayer.
Well, maybe those
Deal with
can
Marvel.
still come, but it's just
fits. It fits. There's ways you can do it.
You get a Supreme sticker you can slap on your Spartan wherever you want. $1,000.
Taco Bell stickers.
The
Taco Bell
stickers,
logos,
yep.
All sorts
Yep,
of stuff
do all
like that.
sorts of
Hey,
stuff.
do you
I mean,
think we'll-
people
do you-
eat food in Halo.
Do you
don't
think
they?
we'll get a cosmetic set with the Halo Infinite armor with just Master Cheeks buns exposed? As he's like running around, his just ass is just hanging out.
How about they do one where it's just my face or Pablo's face? There's no helmet. It's like they model Pablo Schreiber's face.
That would be hilarious. Just
That'd be
running
great.
around.
I would buy that. I would buy that.
Yeah, you would buy
helmet
that.
customization straight away. Say, look at me. I'm in Halo Infinite. That'd be great.
There you go. But yeah, ads
So
in
good.
our games. Quit panicking, people.
They've been there for 30 years, but they've been there since most of you were born. Like, it's okay. I want more ads in games. Bugger ya. I
Well,
want more of them. Stuff it.
one game that didn't need to have too many ads in it to sell 5 million copies was Dying Light 2, who celebrated that little milestone.
Is that all right?
Game went through a bit of a dev hell. There were lots of rumors swirling about it, but it seemed to have landed okay. And I think they celebrated 20 million copies. Keep me honest here, Jesse.
The first one.
Of the first Dying Light, which is getting a next gen patch as well at some point soon. So yeah.
I think that next gen patch actually finally hit.
Oh, good.
At least on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Good old PlayStation, rocking in first there. Now, I'm wondering. We've been on a bit of a rant, so maybe
I know, and we buggered up. There were community
yeah.
questions that related to Halo that we should have asked.
We did. Well, maybe it's a good thing, but we'll tackle them at the end. I'm going to swap these around. Can we talk about Ubisoft, Nick? Can we talk about Ubisoft?
Yeah, okay.
So you just gloss over Dying Light 2?
No. Well, do you want to talk more about?
Well,
Dying
no.
Light 2?
I was just saying. Look,
copies?
I was just saying. It's interesting that we have sales figures for Dying Light 2 and Elden Ring.
Yeah.
All the big games from February have released their sales figures, except
But
one.
not the biggest banger? Not the biggest banger of February? The banger of bangers?
I'm just
Banger?
saying, it's just interesting. That's all.
No?
I'm just
Yeah,
asking-
there was a banger that we didn't get sales figures for. Although Herman Hulst did tweet about the 20 million that the first game sold. Funny,
I mean, 5 million for Dying Light in a month, Dying Light 2 in the month, I think is quite impressive, honestly. That is a very, very good figure. Yeah, people really did like but like 5 million in 1 month for Dying Light 2, I think that's quite impressive. 12 million in 3 weeks for Elden Ring is absurdly ridiculous.
It's bonkers.
But yeah, I thought that.
But it was funny to see him tweet about Horizon Zero Dawn's
Hey,
sales
you're an
figures
Xbox podcast. You can't talk about this stuff.
2 months after the new game has come out.
Nick, you're an Xbox podcast. Can't talk about it.
Why not?
You can't talk about it.
Talk about Nintendo. We talk about PlayStation.
You tell the people how many times you wanted to make a Nintendo podcast and PlayStation podcast, but because you can't. You wanted to, but you can't. And what was the reason why you can't?
Because there's nothing to talk about. I mean, half the PlayStation news out there is generated by me. So I'd be one of the only ones that would be like, have anything to talk about.
Man. I love having Rand on. He's got some spiciness, There's always a little bit of the spice.
I'm just asking questions, that's all. I would love to know. You got Dying Light 2 numbers. I'm just saying.
Returnal
is an amazing game.
Set the world on fire on the sales charts.
Returnal was amazing. No slander here on Returnal, please.
I'm not talking about the quality of the games. I loved Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Game sold 1 million copies. Before it came out, though, it was being hyped as like the greatest thing that's ever going to grace the video game space. Yet none of those people bought it. I did. Guess what? Because the argument against Sony's Game Pass is that, oh no, their games sell 20 million. No, they don't. A few of their games do. Not the rest of them.
Yeah.
Sony aren't Nintendo. Doesn't matter how much you want them to be. Sony aren't Nintendo. So Sony does need to put their games on the Game Pass because not all their games sell 20 million. Only a few of them do.
Hey, the Returnal guy did say he can't wait for their game to come to the PlayStation Plus Premium because he can't wait for more people to play the game.
More people to try it out. And guess what? Some of those people might buy it now because it's probably a lot cheaper.
They're doing a DLC for it as well, right?
All of a sudden, all those people that were like shilling for Ratchet and Clank might actually get to play it now if it comes to their PS Plus thing.
Don't play Ratchet and Clank. It's...
Ratchet and Clank was great.
It was for $70.
Yes, not for the 120 that I paid for it. But
if you played one Ratchet and Clank, you've played this Ratchet and Clank.
I will admit that, yes. It is not my favorite Ratchet and Clank game. That is still Tools of Destruction. But it is still a very, very well made.
It's a very pretty game.
Very good game.
Very pretty.
But this is the thing, like, it's an argument that continues to fall apart about the whole, but they sell so many copies. They don't. They just...
What's the best PlayStation game released so far? I think it's Returnal.
In terms of...
your enjoyment.
Wait.
Your personal enjoyment.
How far back are we going?
Just PS5 launch. PS5 launch, so...
Astrobot.
The Astro Boy, yeah.
Astrobot's pretty good.
Yeah. Astrobot is the best PlayStation 5 exclusive game. And no one's going to agree because it's the free game that came with the console. I don't care about that crap. I don't care about whether the game was $100, the game was $2, the game was $5. I play a game to play a game. If a game's fun, a game is fun, regardless of how it was made, regardless of its camera perspective. It doesn't matter. Is the game good? The game's good.
What's the best Xbox game? Since for the Series X and S era. I mean, you only have like 3 to choose from.
Oh, does it have to be first party?
Well, yeah, it has to be first party for doing first party.
Oh, does it? Oh, that makes it even harder then. Because I didn't play Forza Horizon 5.
And you run an Xbox podcast. Oh, my lord.
It would have to be Halo.
It's probably Halo.
Yeah.
I think.
Psychonauts 2 was pretty damn good.
Oh, yeah, Psychonauts 2. No, I like Halo more than Psychonauts 2.
Psychonauts 2 was really, really good.
It's good. I haven't beat it yet, but it's probably Halo.
Could it be something that's just exclusive to the platform?
No. First party.
Damn it.
What would
Otherwise,
be yours
it wouldn't be Halo
if
for
you could
me.
expand it?
It would probably be Halo. Psychonauts 2 is right there. I really like Psychonauts 2 a lot. But Forza Horizon, choosing between Halo, Forza, and Psychonauts 2 would be very difficult for me because I really liked all of them.
Nobody's going to pick Gears Tactics? Okay.
No,
it's not XCOM, so we hated it as a site. We gave it a 6.
Yeah, but it's probably... and for the record, I have not played Forza Horizon 5, so I can't...
Why not? Why haven't you played Forza Horizon 5? What's up with that?
Those games just became work. Like...
Work?
I played 3, and because it was Australia, and I enjoyed it. And then I started 4, and I was like, man, this is a lot. And I kind of just dropped it after a couple of hours. And then I saw 5, and I'm like,
5 setup is much better than 4. 4 definitely map spammed you way too early.
Yeah.
You get map spam in 5 eventually.
Plus, it's Mexico,
when you're
bro.
ending it. Yeah.
It's a great map.
Forza Horizon
nice
1
too.
is still the best one. The first game's still the best one.
If Forza Horizon 6 comes out, and it's in Japan, are you in?
Maybe. Depends on how they structure it. Like, secretly, the 2 best Forza Horizon games, in no particular order, because I can't decide the order, the 2 best Forza Horizon games, Forza Horizon 1, Forza Horizon 2 presents Fast and the Furious. They are the two best Forza Horizon games.
I mean, Forza Horizon 1 was pretty damn good.
Oh, and on Series X?
And at the time, nobody was like... I remember when that game came out and people were like, and then just imagine, like, you said to somebody in 2012, like, this team is going to basically, in, 10 years or whatever, going to dominate the racing genre. People would laugh.
Yeah.
What about Polyphony? Oh, no, not Polyphony, not anymore.
Polyphony.
I think
They keep using PS2 and PS3 assets in their new games and like take 10 years to make a game.
Forza Horizon 2
man.
was probably my favourite, I think. Like, it was the
Polyphony's
one
like the 343 of
the most
PlayStation
fun.
Studios.
That's not a compliment.
I know.
But anyway, I want to talk about Ubisoft. And what they might be up to.
Apparently they're interested. Apparently they might be looking to get themselves sold off.
Yeah, and I've seen there been a bunch of news, outside of the purchasing rumors. But I saw was it Henderson? Tom Henderson leaked Project Q, and then they did a tweet like, "Well, you might have heard, yeah, we're doing this battle royale game, Project Q." But yeah, Ubisoft getting sold. Now that's interesting. Do you think Microsoft's in the running for that one, Nick? Do you think they're
why not?
that one out?
Well, I mean, we were talking about Scalar a few weeks back, weren't we? When they revealed
technology,
Ubisoft
the cloud
Scalar at GDC, and I said,
Yeah.
I think Amazon and Microsoft would be super interested in this technology. Only way they get their hands on it is to buy Ubisoft. How else are you going to get it? I'm sure they'd love to.
We're talking about Ubisoft because a report came out. John, you're a podcast, so you got to set up the context for people that don't know. Where's the context for this? Right?
I'm just following the show notes.
Who wrote the show notes?
That's why I queued Nick up. He's going to tell me the context.
I just quickly whipped them up last night before I went to the church.
So there was a Bloomberg article that mentioned that a couple private equity firms were investigating Ubisoft, which... Yeah, I mean, I think Ubisoft has been wanting to sell for a while.
I think certain segments of Ubisoft. I don't know if Eve has been super enthusiastic about selling. He may be more warm to the idea now, but I don't think he used to be.
The thing is, I think Ubisoft has fallen so far from gamers' graces that like Xbox fans are like, no. And PlayStation fans are like, no thanks. Or you know what I mean? But like 5 years ago, people were like, Ubisoft? Hell yeah. They got all these like weird free-to-play battle royale. Like there's like 7. They got like X Defiant, and they got like Division Heartlands. They got like this Project Q that Tom Henderson leaked, and then Ubisoft announced. It was like, oh, you heard about this game? They got all this stuff, and it's just like... And all their franchises that I love, like Far Cry, basically they just molded into every other franchise that they own. Like Far Cry basically became like anything else. And
at least we're getting Splinter Cell.
Yeah, it's a remake though. Which is that's
cool.
I'll take it. I'll take it any way I can get it. I just feel that Microsoft and Sony aren't really that interested in Ubisoft because it would be a complete cluster to integrate 20,000 employees across 40 worldwide studios. I sort of feel like Microsoft, even though they would do their due diligence and look at everything and be like, okay, how much would we pay and what would we get? I feel like they would be like, nah, this is just, we can't handle this. And same thing with Sony. It's just like, I also feel like just all of a sudden you're onboarding 20,000 employees.
Can you imagine?
And this would be like the one acquisition. No, Nick.
Clobbrel said the same thing about Activision Blizzard. They would never take on something that big because of all that stuff. And then they did.
Yeah, but Activision Blizzard gives you way more than Ubisoft does.
Yeah.
Way more. It's worth the risk. You get Blizzard for the PC side. You get King, a mobile presence that is in countries that Xbox has zero presence in, that they've been looking for something in mobile for forever. And then you get you get Call of Duty and stuff. Like, Activision, from a business standpoint, makes the utmost sense. Ubisoft, to me, in comparison, is just like, no. Like, I 100% understand why they wanted Activision and why they were willing to pay that money for it. Right?
Ubisoft's way cheaper, though.
Yeah, it's way cheaper, for sure. But just because something cheaper doesn't mean you should buy it just because you got the money.
No, I'm just saying, like, Ubisoft is more in the Bethesda realm in terms of what it would cost.
Who would you rather have, Bethesda or Ubisoft?
God, that's tough for me because I don't really care about either.
You don't like Xbox at all. Why is he even on this show? He doesn't like Xbox. What's going on?
I don't know. I just think Ubisoft still has strong IP. Like,
sure,
still
Assassin's
has
Creed
very
is really strong. Yes,
but I'm just talking about broadly. They have a lot of IP that stuff can be done with, even if Ubisoft's not necessarily doing stuff with it. Assassin's Creed, Prince of Persia, Rayman, Splinter Cell, that they still have strong IP. Just like Activision has strong IP that they're doing nothing with. Ubisoft does too. But I guess Ubisoft, I think the spanner in the works with a potential Ubisoft acquisition would be the sheer volume of staff. Like, Activision Blizzard is 70 billion. Ubisoft will probably be, I don't know, 10, 15 at most. But the staff size on Ubisoft is way more than Activision. Way more.
You got to think, though, there's huge numbers of publishing arms and there's lots of support studios. I think, the onboarding of that would be challenging. And there is such a thing as trying to acquire too much too fast. I mean, I worked at a company in the UK that did something like 20 acquisitions in 4 or 5 years.
Who?
Telecoms company that I used to work for.
Right.
And as a support engineer for that company, I suddenly had to have something like 15 different support portals with 20 different logins, with 20 versions of the same technology, but with all bespoke, unique quirks. And suddenly we were expected to roll with that. And you try and think, and that was on a relatively small niche scale. You try and think of that at that scale, and add to the fact that whilst the Activision acquisition does not prevent, to my knowledge, legally, Microsoft from acquiring anyone else.
No.
I don't think Microsoft would seek to acquire anything that would be considered, and I get it, they're not in the same ballpark, right, because of the number of IP and the different realms that Activision touches. But from a pure console gamer mindset, looking at the industry, you stand Activision next to Ubisoft, next to EA, they're all there. They're one of the big ones. And I just don't. I feel like they would be cutting off the nose to spite their face just to even attempt it. Like, I guarantee if those rumors are true, and I imagine they're probably feeling it out. But I don't think I'm kind of with Rand on this. I don't think they would actually pull the trigger on this at all.
I don't know. I think they get more than people think. Everyone just keeps seeing the 20,000 staff, but then don't look at much else. Like, Scalar would be big for them, and GameStack and Azure, and they get the IP, and I know Satya wants IP. They want IP. They want lots of IP, and I know they want to pump stuff into Game Pass as well. I don't know. And I mean, speaking of which...
I was about to say,
speaking of which, are we seeing old Ubisoft games come into Game Pass?
Yeah,
Where'd we hear that?
They could call out, like...
About a year and a quarter ago?
Over that, I think.
That there was a deal to get old Ubisoft games to Game Pass? Didn't we hear that? Come on, Rand. You're quick to jump on me when I'm wrong. Come on. I've got you now. I've got you here. Come on.
What are you talking about?
So, a long time ago, Rand, to help.
No. I remember. Nick said that deal was gonna happen last year.
I said it should happen by the end of the year. That's right.
And it's more likely going to happen by the end of this year.
It's already started.
Well, I mean, For Honor and Origins, like, whatever. It's 2 games.
Yeah, and they said they're bringing more via Connect
and
or something like that.
That's for I think the PC side. Well, I mean, they already announced they're going to bring Ubisoft Plus to Xbox, so
Yeah.
I mean that's not
Which I'm sure will
necessarily-
also end up in Game Pass at some point.
Yeah, probably. No, I mean, me and Jez had talked about that last year too. Like, we had
I
heard
know.
rumors that things were going on, but I don't think people care about old games in Game Pass. So I personally don't think like, oh yay, Origins. Like, what is Origins now? 5 years
Triple A
old.
bangers.
They want new games. I don't like the Ubisoft.
I know.
You see, John, you mentioned like when you mentioned the other publishers stacked up. Like, if this was 5 years ago, Ubisoft's right with them.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like when they were in their resurgence, like they were right there. And they've sort of fell off, and a lot of their games they're making now are free to play stuff, which like doesn't really help Game Pass in any capacity, really. So I'm sure Microsoft will look at it. They can afford it, but is it worth it? Like, is it really worth purchasing Ubisoft?
I think for the price, yes. For sub 15 billion, yes. I think.
I don't
know.
I just
Is Jesse talking to us right now? Because he's muted if he is.
No, I've got a house full of people. Sorry.
oh
Right, okay. Because I keep seeing Jesse talk, and I'm like, is he talking to us? I'm just not sure.
So, here's a quick call out. There's a couple of super chats that you might want to touch on.
Is it?
Yeah, we got one from Gold Shell. If you can't see it, I can do the honors.
Oh, yeah, Gold Shell. Nick, you mentioned you want a solid Pro controller. You need to get SCUF Instinct Pro. Best $200 I've spent on a controller. Look, I get it, Gold Shell, but I have this thing about buying third-party controllers. It's just, I've never liked doing it. It's an OCD thing, probably more than anything else. Because I probably should buy a SCUF, because the Elite controllers are built surprisingly poorly.
Yeah.
So, my Elite, man, it is falling apart at the seams, literally. All the grips are coming apart. Everything's just coming apart.
Yeah.
Like,
Mine did that.
It's weird that the base controller is built so much better than the Elite controller.
Well,
It's so
my
weird.
weird theory is that they put all these heavy, high quality metal parts on the Elites, but underneath them is still the same plastic stuff that was running all the other normally plastic stuff.
As someone
I
who's
think-
had to change out parts, it's mostly the same internal.
Yeah.
The externals are much nicer, but like the bumpers break because and those grips came off because it was something new. The third-party grips you can get actually stay on if you want.
On the
I
Elite
just-
1.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
There are a
Elite 2
lot of
doesn't
third
have that
parties.
option.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
just wait for the inevitable Elite 3.
I'm waiting for the white Elite. I want to get that white Elite 2
That
to
leaked
replace...
how long ago? Weren't there pictures of
I
that
know.
a while ago?
It'll probably be E3. It'll probably be an E3 drop.
More Xbox controllers. Yay.
This is one thing Microsoft is good at releasing on a regular cadence.
Yes.
But yeah.
If they could get games out at the regularity they get out controllers, then man.
Well,
We'd be
so
busy
if we're talking about acquisitions, Nick, you're the acquisition man. You stamped and put in the vernacular acquisition season, right?
On
You're the
Colt's
man
podcast.
about this. So how do you? Where do you feel? Let's assume hypothetically the Activision deal goes through, no problems. I would imagine early next year,
I
right?
still think it's going to be later this year. I think it will be around September.
I think it's
Activision.
I think it's next year. I think it goes through March of next year.
No, I'm sticking to September.
I think. Okay, well, either way, let's hypothetically imagine it goes through next year, January, February, right? What do you think Microsoft's next targets are? Since you're the man that you know all the info, right? I'm curious. Like, what do you think the next? Because we could all sit there and be like, IO Interactive and Avalanche. And all these
I'll say
studios
the
that they're
same thing.
Work.
I'll say the same thing I said about a year and a half ago. No one is off the table.
So if I said, why don't you send out a new tweet about who they won't acquire, so they will acquire them a couple weeks later?
I should do that. I should do that. Reverse jinx it.
Hey, seeing as we're talking about acquisitions, right? I saw the rumor that from apparently someone in the Sony camp, Sony are considering or want to acquire From Software.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I don't know where that came from.
I don't put much stock in it.
And
but
people somehow tied that rumor to me.
That was going around. Because like that was the whole thing with Greg Miller, where he was like, "There's 3 things he heard," right?
Yeah, that's right.
And then, like, I remember 10K went in the Discord. He's like, I got a DM that From Software is being bought by PlayStation. Tune in at 5 p.m. because that's when the Japanese stock market closes. It's gonna. But then all of a sudden, like, everybody on Twitter was like, whisper, whisper, whisper. I'm an insider. From Software is getting bought, right? Yeah. And then it just kind of blew up, and nothing happened. And then, like, Grub and Greg had talked, like, live on the air, and, like, I think Grub even mentioned in his show, like, the deal. Well, because then the whole Kojima stuff happened, right? Which I don't know if you guys talked about last week or whatever, but
the week before.
The week before, God, time just is like, what is time these days?
It does.
But then, like, Grub had said that he had heard that the rumored Sony acquisition was bigger than Kojima, or whatever. It just never ends, does it? Like, it's just...
I know. But here's the thing about acquisitions, and I said this a couple of weeks ago. Acquisitions, like, talks are always there between everyone.
Yeah.
All the time. Like, and acquisitions can fall through at the last second for any reason. I mean, we had Ed Freeze on last week telling us that he tried to buy Blizzard 15 years ago. And he tried to buy Westwood. And he had Westwood right there. Goes, guys, I've set this up. I just got to go get married right now. Just get the deal done. And guess what? The deal fell through.
EA swept
Stuff like that is happening all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft already looked at Ubisoft once or twice. Wouldn't be surprised in the least. We've heard about Microsoft trying to buy Nintendo. And that didn't go through. Like... this stuff's always happening, which is also the reason why you're not going to hear the Jeff Grubbs and all these other people. They're not going to get into specifics publicly for that reason, because they can fall apart at the last second. It can get dangerous the bigger the company, and if they're public, then you start delving into insider trading waters, and no one wants to be responsible for that mess. Like, it's not as basic as, well, if you knew, you'd say, and if you didn't know... It's not that simple, people. This is dangerous territory. When you're dealing with a company the size of Activision or Ubisoft, it's dangerous territory. Yeah. And depending on whose voice it comes from, it varies as well. So, if someone like Jeff Grubb was to come out and be like, yep, I've heard Microsoft's looking at Ubisoft, all of a sudden that share price starts shifting.
All of a sudden, YouTubers make videos. Microsoft buying Ubisoft confirmed.
That's right.
Jeff Grubb said.
But if that tweet comes from, I don't know, who's that doctor that showed everyone's private information? If the tweet comes from someone like that, then no one gives a rat's ass and nothing happens. So the voice it comes from matters too. And most people that have voices that matter are generally aware that their voice matters. So they'll shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Because it's not that simple. I mean, oh no, I'm not going to say what I was about to say just then. But like, you just got to be careful when you're like, the only I think acquisition that I was very public about, and I've said this before, was the Gearbox one.
Yeah.
And even then, I didn't directly say, oh, Gearbox is being acquired. I just said, out of nowhere, I wouldn't be surprised if Gearbox got acquired. 3 days later, they got acquired. And back then, luckily, I had no following, so it didn't matter. But I had been told Gearbox was being acquired. And that was what I was allowed to tweet out. And 3 days later, they were. So, but Gearbox is only Gearbox. It's not on the scale of Activision or Ubisoft or Take-Two or... any of the ones that have been flying around for years. Take-Two. Weren't we hearing about Take-Two like around July, August last year?
Dude, it was literally people. It was literally people being like, they're buying Take-Two on the anniversary they bought Bethesda. And people were like, we know what's happening, and then nothing happened because nothing ever happens in these sort of things. They just get announced. Like I said, whatever. Yeah.
Like I said, it's not as simple as people think. This stuff is always ongoing, and we hear stuff. We hear look at ACG.
What would you put the odds at Ubisoft getting acquired by Xbox or PlayStation then? Because I think that's something people care.
PlayStation not at all. PlayStation,
So
not
you
at all.
put 0%.
Yeah, on PlayStation, yeah.
Xbox, what would you put the percentage at?
Working under the assumption that they're interested. Like, if we work under the assumption that they're, like, I'm sure you said yourself, they're probably doing due diligence. So if they're doing due diligence, that would suggest they have some interest in buying Ubisoft, no?
No, I think Xbox has contingency plans for literally every publisher. I think they
Probably.
have plans of how they would buy EA and Take-Two and stuff. So like,
Ed Freeze said the same thing. He said they went to buy EA back in the day.
so I think
No
they
one knew
already-
about that.
I think they've already looked at Ubisoft, so it's just a matter of like, I don't know. I would give it like 10%,
Yeah, I'm
but
landing around that.
I would be like you. Is it you think it's 50-50 or you think it's more like 30-70?
Working under the assumption that they're genuinely interested, 50-50.
50-50. Can't wait for this
Working
article
under
to
the
show up
assumption
at
that they're interested.
Xbox Insider says Microsoft is 50-50
See what I
on
mean?
buying
See what I
Ubisoft.
mean? That's the problem. That's another reason I try not to say Jack, because that happens. And it's
Yeah, I
annoying.
know. And it's usually Jez Corden's Xbox 2 podcast. It's always. In fact, when Jez leaked the Battle Royale stuff on Xbox 2, I saw Paul Tassi from Forbes being like, in a recent interview with Jez Corden. It's like an interview? When the hell has Xbox 2 just become an interview of Jez at this point?
That's all you do. You interview Jez each week.
He graces you with his presence.
Yeah.
Oh, God. That's good.
Man.
Morgan
Alright.
Mason has a super chat. Stuck at work, but I thought I'd pop in to say cheers. Also, since Randy's here, if it hasn't happened yet, consider this your scalebound mention for the day.
There we go. Every week, Scalebound. What's up with Platinum Games? I saw the report that Babylon's Fall.
They were being acquired too.
Babylon's Fall had fallen below like 2 people on Steam or something.
Yeah, it was like eight players. That's it. I mean, that's a flop and a half, isn't it?
Mm.
You know, I mean, hey, at least Halo Infinite's got more than 8 players.
Slightly more.
But Platinum Remedy reminding me of Platinum at the moment. Like,
You think
Platinum-
Remedy's taken on too many projects?
yeah, like Platinum did
Potentially.
that on all of this stuff, and it all went a bit pear-shaped for them, and things got cancelled. And like Remedy have got so many things cooking.
Do you remember when Remedy was about to be acquired by PlayStation?
Yep. Apparently, yeah.
I do.
Well,
It was like a few weeks back, wasn't it?
It's
or
like
a few
every
months
other,
ago.
every other week.
Yeah.
I think we're living in a world where if a developer that works for anything he likes a PlayStation treat, people just read into it and start conjecturing, and it's ridiculous. I think this.
I think Sony's next acquisition will be one that people probably aren't expecting. It'll probably, like, everyone keeps talking Remedy, and everyone keeps talking, who's the other one?
From Software.
From, and like there's all these sort of
Deviation
cliche.
games, you know.
Yeah. I mean, Deviation seems like a no-brainer anyway, just like Haven, and
Yeah.
like Deviation is probably like a when as opposed to an if. But I feel like their next big one, if there is a big one, will probably be someone that people aren't expecting or assuming.
I've told Jez recently that I felt it was only a matter of time before PlayStation buys somebody that would piss off Xbox fans. Because mostly their acquisitions have kind of just been studios they've worked with, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And then when they bought Bungie, it was pretty much right away, like, Bungie's like, no, we're independent. We're going to put our games wherever we feel like it. So Xbox fans were just like, oh, okay, fine, that's cool, whatever. But it was only a matter of time before Sony buys somebody that Xbox fans like their game. I don't know who. I mean,
Well, I speculated on Twitter a little while back, CDPR. That was speculation. I was
after
like, I reckon,
Cyberpunk. No, I mean,
yeah, but like Microsoft has locked down Western RPGs forever. So Sony probably needs to do something about that. And CDPR is a step towards doing that.
maybe.
Again, just speculation.
Does
I was just
acquisition season continue? Is this acquisition years now?
always-
You're going to patent it? Acquisition year?
Always
like, it's not a season anymore. It's just like, it's just life
Acquisition
now. It's just-
infinity.
It's a lifestyle.
yeah. It's just, that's just what it is now. Like, there's
Can you
always
imagine
people
if
being
like
acquired.
Embracer bought Ubisoft or something?
I'm sure Embracer would be one of an interested party. I'm sure they would be. Tencent probably too.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe even Apple's interested.
Yeah, well, Apple.
Don't forget about Apple.
A foothold.
Apple has a game subscription service.
I think
People keep forgetting about Apple.
To dispel the notion that Microsoft will and should buy everyone, right? That's not going to happen. But anyway, acquisition seasons with an S.
Seasons.
Last thing I have on my list here is the amusing one, which is the saga and the drama of VGChartz
And console sales.
and console sales particularly. And this was because, and I've seen a bunch of beef, so you'll have to help me clear the mud here because I skimmed a lot of this. But I saw a bunch of beef between Zed Huge and Jeff Grubb because Jeff was like, who cares? It's just numbers. I saw that. And he was like, hey, I get it. You don't like VGChartz, Zed Huge. Leave me out of it. And they kind of apologized to each other or whatever. I saw that.
I did not see this.
Yeah, it was quite amusing on Twitter. I saw that the general gist is VGChartz claimed some numbers.
Yes.
And Aaron Greenberg retweeted it. It didn't confirm
Very
the
silly.
numbers, but by retweeting it, gave credence that the numbers were
correct,
accurate. And then I think another Xbox staffer quoted it. And
yes.
The general
Very
lesson
silly.
that should be learned here is what? Don't agree with VGChartz numbers.
Here's the problem with VGChartz, right? And I'm not going to rag on VGChartz the way some people do, right? VGChartz, whoever started that little venture, has done well for themselves. They've been quoted in full-on news outlets and everything, right? VGChartz take whatever numbers are available, so it's not 100% made up, because they do take whatever real numbers we have available to us. They take that, yes, yes, Wandering Dutch. We might have another 4-hour podcast in our hands.
It's my son's 8th birthday tomorrow. We're not going for 4 hours. He's going to be up.
I've got to go to my parents soon for Greek Easter, so I can't go for that long. VGChartz do take some real numbers, and then the made-up stuff or extrapolated stuff takes over from there. The problem with VGChartz is that with Xbox, there's literally no data outside of Japan. I don't think. Is there? Japan's like the only numbers we get for Xbox, and it's like 3, which is why it's so easy to track.
Yeah, I think so.
So we don't know, and most likely we'll never know Xbox's numbers. Which is why I said a few weeks back, I can't even remember what we were talking about a few weeks ago, and we said they shouldn't even report on the numbers if they were doing well, because it undermines them.
Yeah,
They've said publicly, we're not reporting on numbers anymore. Like, just, so VGChartz has them at around 14 million. And then Aaron Greenberg's tweeting. Now, I took Aaron Greenberg's tweet as Xbox is doing great. And it's great that we're doing so much better than we did with the Xbox 360, which was our best-selling console. That was the context of which I gathered that tweet. But I can also see how most people would see that as confirmation of VGChartz numbers.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't see it as that, I can completely see how many would. Which is why I don't think Aaron should have done that. And I don't think the other person should have done it. Like, I think that's silly, because that's it now. Everyone's going to be like, well, Xbox is at 14 million. Which I think is probably way off, personally.
Yeah.
And it's a weird position Microsoft's in now. Like, let's say, for argument's sake, that Microsoft is about the same or slightly ahead of PlayStation. Let's just say.
Hypothetically.
If they turn around and go, oh, we're ahead of PlayStation, let's talk about the numbers. Let's get that marketing buzz that we're outselling PlayStation, which I agree they need, because the narrative has always been that they're smashing Xbox. PlayStation is smashing it. It's the best-selling console. And that gives momentum. Yeah, that gives momentum, and that leads to people going, yep, I'm going to buy PlayStation because it's the best-selling. So I get why they would want that message out there that, no, we're the best-selling, or we're selling the same. I understand that. But the problem is it undermines them. So what happens? So they break their rule, and they say, we're outselling PlayStation. What happens when they're not outselling? Do they just then go back to not reporting the numbers?
Yeah, exactly.
So all of a sudden, the message they're sending is, if we're not reporting, we're being outsold.
Yeah.
And that's
Which
a
is
problem
what everyone
to me.
assumed when they changed to MAU.
Correct.
Anyway.
So right now, everyone assumes that they stopped talking because they stopped selling. But we don't know that for a fact. It's what we assume. If they report numbers while they're ahead and then go and stop, we know forever.
Yeah.
We know forever that if they're not reporting, it's because they're being outsold. So to me, they should not report the numbers. I still think they should leak the numbers and then report on them and confirm them.
Just give the numbers
That's
to
how
Nick. He'll leak them. He'll leak them, right?
He would leak them.
If I was told the number, would I leak it? Depends if I was told I'm allowed to leak it. You know how I work. If I'm told,
You
I'm
know
allowed
everything.
to, I will.
Everything Xbox leaks. Right?
Sorry?
Everything Xbox leaks, right? How many project code names do we know of games in the future?
God, they are.
Me, I only got told about the one. Jez knows all the code names. I only got told about the one, which was that Wormwood one. That's it. That's the only one I got told about. Game ones. I got told a couple of non-game ones, but
I agree with Nick on this one because,
Yeah.
look, yeah, I would love to know the numbers. I think everybody would, right? And I to me, Aaron Greenberg's tweet was, I read it like Nick. I read it was like, we're doing better than our best system, right? What's odd about it was like, you don't have to use an intermediary. You can literally just tell us the numbers. You can literally make an infographic and be like, Xbox has passed 15 million and here's 3. Like, you could do that sort of you don't have to rely on the third party to get that information across. You have the information yourself. So yeah, I didn't read it as like, well, 14 million must be the correct number. I just saw like, hey, Xbox is doing pretty damn good considering the generation it just came off of, and the fact that Xbox really hasn't released any games outside of Forza and Halo. Like, I think they're doing pretty amazing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You got a shortage of consoles, and you're still like the demand for the consoles is through the roof. But I also think like Phil was very, 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 very much out there at the lead up to launch of this gen, being like, console sales aren't everything. They're just a part of our business. And even if we were outselling the PlayStation 5, we wouldn't report numbers. So it would look odd, hypocritical even, for you to suddenly be outselling PlayStation and you're just like, look, PlayStation console sales matter again. And guess what?
Right.
We're ahead of PlayStation. And
that's right.
Look, I would like it to happen simply because I would like to see the tears, Nick and John.
Yes. Oh, I
would
agree.
love to see the tears.
Not only that, I think they need to get the numbers out there. That's the irony of it. I don't think they should report them, but at the same time, they need to report them because.
Here's a question. And I get it, right? But here's a question for you guys. Regardless of what VGChartz said, and I can't remember the number now off the top of my head. What was it?
13.87, I think.
What do you guys actually think the numbers are? What are the PlayStation numbers at the moment?
Did you see the corner of Nick's mouth move there with a little smile? Did you see that? Did you see that?
What?
If you rewind that, when John asked that question, you should see the little corner of Nick's. Like, Jesse, did you see what I'm talking about? The little smirk. That. I saw it.
What?
What do you mean? What?
All right.
What are you talking about?
What do you think the numbers are?
Just guessing?
Yeah.
Pure guess. No, let Rand guess first. He probably knows better than I do.
I don't know the numbers, but I'll just say, for Nick, Nick will just, wouldn't it be great? What does Jez always say to you?
That's
Remember what
Jez that does that.
Yeah, I know.
That's Jez that does that. That's not me.
I'm just saying.
That's Jez.
I don't know. 15, 16 million sounds pretty good, I guess. Which would be better than anybody would have predicted.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hell, the fact that they might, VGChartz says 14. Here's the thing with VGChartz. I don't trust their numbers. Whatever, at all.
They also fluff up Sony's a little bit. Don't they report higher than what Sony has officially reported?
Yeah, they do that sometimes, and then they reverse it down or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, everybody thought like PlayStation was going to continue the PS4 dominance and outsell Xbox like 2-1 again. Hasn't happened. Will it happen in the long run? Maybe, maybe not. I think the closer Xbox gets to PlayStation, the bigger the disruption in the market potentially could happen, because a lot of Sony's deals are based off the idea that like they're the market leader and they have the most sales. But then like if Xbox suddenly approaches their number, like those deals become harder for Sony to get, because now they're going to have to pay way more.
That's right. And that's why I said they're in a tough spot. I don't think they should report the numbers for their own consistency, but at the same time, they do need the numbers out there because it's a good marketing point.
Yeah,
it's a strong tide shifter.
It is,
because the next investors call, someone just straight up asks Satcher, and he just kind of overrides what the Xbox team wants and just blurts out the number. Like, yeah.
Well, the investor call is on Tuesday, the 26th.
Quick.
No, I also agree. Like, perception is reality, and the perception is that Xbox is losing, right? Because you don't give out numbers. And if you were doing really well, like if you were like right on the heels of Sony, I think you would want people to know how well you're doing. Because then if you were right on the heels of Sony, that probably means you're winning in the United States, right?
Yeah.
That would be something huge. Like you could be like the number one best-selling next-gen console in North America or whatever, and people will look at that and be like, "Wait a minute," you know?
That's what they built the 360 on North America.
Rand thinks 15 million worldwide, right? When you
15 to 16, yeah,
15, 16. Like Nick, what about you? What do you spitballing?
Just a guess.
Look at his smile. Look at that little smile.
Pluck it out of the air.
Look at it.
Pluck it.
Look
out
at it. He's getting all red, and then he's just
spit it out.
That's the light. That's my light.
I
don't know. 18.
18.
Around 18. Wow. 18.2.
18.
Isn't that where Sony?
That is 18.2 is a very specific number.
In that ballpark, like around 18 or so.
In that ballpark of between 18 and 299,000 and 18 and 201,000.
Yeah.
Very specific number.
Sony at the end of December reported like 17.3 or something like that. And that was end of December. We're now April, close to May. So Sony hasn't been able to obviously make many. So Sony's probably going to be 19 or 20, I'd say, at this point.
I think Sony reported, 17 million?
17.3, I think.
At the end of 2021. It doesn't really seem like they had a lot of stock for the first quarter.
Correct.
So maybe they get up to 19 million.
Because here's the thing, right? The problem is, so Zooge or Zhuge, however the hell you want to call him, his name's Daniel. Let's just call him Daniel, okay? His name is Daniel.
You see the chat?
What?
Xbox leaker confirms 18.2 million.
So yes, right.
So Daniel said in January, because I think Microsoft said something about how it's their best-selling console to date at this point, or something like that. And Daniel goes, that puts our estimates at over 12 million. That puts Daniel's estimates and analyst estimates at over 12 million. Okay? Now, over 12 million is a very nebulous number. Over 12 million can be 12.1. It can be 100. Right? That's the problem with over 12 million.
Yeah, technically correct, and that's the best kind of correct.
That's right. So, and this is where people took that tweet and said, well, they're at 12 million. It's like, no. He said over 12 million. And they don't know what over 12 million that is. Now, I have to say I was talking about the chip priority thing, which, safe to say, is probably real. We saw how much extra stock they've had for the last 4 months. They had enough stock for a limited edition Halo console. They had enough stock to put blades in Azure. Safe to say the chip priority thing is real. So if they were over 12 million in January, and we have no idea what that number is. We're now almost in May, and they've had tons of stock for a while now. I just think people are underselling the Xbox numbers out of habit. Out of just pure habit. And that's partially created by Microsoft, by not reporting the numbers. We also know they're having...
an untalked about figure anyway.
Yeah. So so maybe I'm just being glass half full on that. I don't know. It's sort of the same way everyone just kept saying that Xbox One was... Remember how long Xbox One was at like 35 million or 40 million? It was like years. It's like Xbox didn't sell a console for 4 years. Like, I just think it's a habit thing with Xbox. So when Daniel said over 12 million, everyone's like, yep, 12 million.
Yeah.
That's it, they're at 12 million. And also they said at 12 million because it meant they had a big gap on Sony. So that's the other reason people took 12 million. I don't think the gap is what people think it is. I don't think it's even close to that gap. I think Xbox is doing way better than people think. Personally. Way, way better.
And I think that's what Greenberg's tweet was all about.
Yeah, and that's why you saw... And this is the thing. That's why I think they tweeted. So in their minds, they're like, because they would know the number. You think Aaron Greenberg wouldn't know the number? Of course he would know the number. So he sees that tweet and gets excited because he knows the number and he probably knows how well they're doing. And he's like, yeah, look how well we're doing. We're doing great, blah, blah, blah. Not thinking that people are going to take that as, oh, well, you're confirming 14 million. He probably didn't see it that way.
It's worth mentioning as well, we did have a community question from Proven, who's one of the site staff, and he asked, hey, what do you make of them doing this? Which is effectively the whole subject of this conversation. So,
what do you make of Aaron Greenberg commenting on VGChart's estimation of Xbox selling 14 million series consoles? Maybe it gives Xbox PR a way to brag about console sales without giving out official numbers. And this is what I'm saying. That is why I said a couple of weeks ago, or last week, was it last week I said it? After Ed left?
Yep.
Might have been last week. I think they should leak the numbers, do a controlled leak via someone reputable, like a Jeff Grubb or someone like that. And because remember how I said about how certain voices have weight? So if someone like Daniel or Jeff Grubb leak the number, that gets volume. There's volume to that. Just like Ubisoft mentioning Tom Henderson, because Tom Henderson's voice has volume.
Yeah.
So if Jeff Grubb was to come out and give the number that he gets told, and it gets buzz, articles everywhere, YouTube videos everywhere, Microsoft's at this many million. Microsoft can then take that and go, look, we don't normally report on the numbers, but the numbers we're seeing out there, yes, we can confirm they're real. So it's not Microsoft reporting on the numbers, Jeff Grubb put them out there. Yeah. And Microsoft is just confirming the numbers. So it's a win-win for Microsoft. They get the publicity message that they're selling super, super well and maybe they're matching Sony, better than Sony, whatever, but they haven't broken their rule and reported on them. That's how I would do it if I was them.
That's the best scenario. I think that's the best of both worlds. And hopefully they'll pay attention in some form and do that. If those numbers are to their benefit.
If those numbers.
And there you go. Now, we're at this point in the show where we like to give a little shout out to our patrons who have been very helpful this week because they've just been granted early access to XboxEra's brand new Game Pass application that's going to be coming very soon to the public, which is called Day One. And funnily enough, we've had a big bump in patrons over the last 5 days because of that. Yeah, it's quite nice. We had I think we had 8 or something yesterday alone, which was cool. None of them in the big super duper tiers or anything like that, but more patrons is always nice. So you're gonna have.
They were not there when I checked 2 days ago.
You're gonna have some codes to give away for NRX.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. But big thank you to all our patrons for everything that they do. Their support allows us to build cool things like Day One and all of the wonderful stuff on the show. And obviously a big thank you to the 200 odd people watching us right now. It's been fun. It's been a fun, slightly ranty filled evening of video game discussion. I've enjoyed every moment of it. But if you're interested in
The
supporting us
timestamps are going to
directly-
be late, everyone.
yeah,
I have
timestamps
Greek
will be
Easter.
late.
The timestamps, maybe someone could help me out this week.
Well, I'm out tomorrow for an 8th birthday party, so we'll find a way. But if you were interested in supporting Xbox Era on Patreon, you can do so by just heading to patreon.com/Xbox Era for as little as a cup of coffee and maybe a little bit more. And you can get cool t-shirts and stuff. I've just seen the latest design, and it's just gone up to our patrons to have a look at for the latest t-shirt, which is all about day one. And the design is wicked. And what I love is that Predrag's put a little QR code as part of the design. And if you scan the QR code, it will take you to the website, which is just nerdy and cool. So yeah, come check it out. It should be fun. And with that, another perk that patrons get is they get to ask us some community questions. So feel free to
We
dive
should have
into
been
them.
blending these. We
I know,
we
we should
ranted so much about
We did
Halo.
rant.
We went on so much about Halo that we completely... in my head, before the show started, I'm like, yep. I was reading the community questions. I'm like, we're going to blend these in really well. They suit all the topics. Let's do it. Blah, 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 blah. Then we started with Halo. That was it. That all went out the window. Oh, man. Anyway, we'll try and burn through these.
You know,
'cause I
there's
haven't-
only 2 Halo ones, really. Halo Roadmap and 343 and something.
and to be fair, we've talked about everything in it, so we can cover off the
Yeah.
question, but just refer
so-
back to the timestamp.
But I have Easter stuff to get to, so people are going to be very annoyed with me if I don't hurry up. Okay. Jesse Brother. Merry episode 106, John and Jesse. Kalopascha, Nick. That is Happy Easter in Greek. Kalopascha.
Very nice.
And always happy to see hear from the enigma that is Randall, Thor, Love and Thunder. Okay, speaking of which, my question this week is more about movies than games. Now, Jesse, tell me something. Your brother watches this show, so I'm very surprised by his question here, because if he watches the show, he would know that we have already talked about this many times. Specifically about The Batman. I, like many, finally saw it thanks to HBO Max, and I gotta say, I friggin' loved it. It's exactly what I always wanted for the character. More detective work, more realistic and brutal with the action. Less Bruce, more Batman. Did you guys see it? And if so, what did you think? We talked about this. John and I
thoroughly
and
enjoyed
Jesse
it.
have all seen Batman. Batman was amazing.
Yeah, it's a good film.
Super good.
You do annoy him enough sometimes, Nick, where he might not watch an episode or two. I just got to be honest.
That annoyance is gone, and it was gone a long, long time ago. So I don't know. He should be watching every week. And to stay game related, would you like to see a new Batman game at any point that is more along the lines of the universe the movie set up, with a heavy emphasis on detective work? Didn't the Arkham games do that?
It was
Yeah, but
very
it's
basic.
all
Yeah. It was
Scanning
just,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, you're scanning stuff and you're getting clues and stuff. I mean, I played
It was,
City,
it
and
was
I remember
very
doing that.
automated, really. You didn't really have to do much. It wasn't like a puzzle game. It was an action game that had very basic, by-the-numbers puzzles.
Okay. I know there was some of that in the Arkham games, but that was mostly about using some cool gadgets that mostly did the job for you. I'm thinking more complicated mysteries where you really have to figure stuff out, or DM friends and look up guides to tell you what to do if you're too easily frustrated.
So,
I mean,
Rand, have you seen the Batman?
Indeed, I have. I saw it when it
you
came
like
to
it?
Enjoy it?
HBO Max. Loved it.
Yeah,
It's great.
Good movie.
I
Now,
saw it at the cinema.
when I think of this question, the easiest answer I can give is I really liked. I know it wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but I thought it was a real step forward in facial animation and everything because of the technology they use. But LA Noire, and I love murder mysteries. Right? There's a reason there's so many murder documentaries out there. Is because we're fascinated by it in some degree. And I'd love to see a game that really. And I watched the Batman again recently with a friend, and I was like, don't you just love the detective angle of this? Like, it's less the Batman, it's more detective noir that happens to be a Batman film.
Yeah,
And I love
that's what I said.
and I'd love to see a game look back to LA Noire and some of the interrogation stuff and the clue finding and actually figuring it out and looking and thinking.
Carmen Sandiego. I used to love Carmen Sandiego.
I haven't
remember
watched the
Carmen
first game on
Sandiego?
Netflix. I know of it. Yeah, I haven't seen
I'm
it.
talking the game.
I haven't played the game.
What? You haven't played the old Carmen Sandiego that was on like those old school computers? It's probably on Amiga. You haven't played Carmen San Diego?
Maybe I did a long time ago. I can't remember.
It's literally like a detective game. You're traveling country to country trying to find the criminal, and you get clues, and then from the clues you've got to figure out where this person's going next, and you've got to get them quick enough, because if you choose the wrong clue and go to the wrong country, they eventually get away. But you've got to get the clues right and keep up with them as they're going from country to country stealing stuff.
I don't think I played that, but it's one of the reasons.
Carmen San Diego was great.
It's one of the reasons I harp on so much about Westwood's Blade Runner game, was because that really was this marriage of point and click, but plot and narrative, and really thinking some of the detective work in it was obscure as hell. And it just made for a really intriguing experience. So I'd love to see something like that from Batman games in the future at some point. It's a good question. Okay. I like that question.
It was. Quick couple of super chats. Ty Casares. I was about to say, I always wondered if, based on his surname, if Tai was Greek. Like, Casares is a very Greek-sounding surname. Happy Greek Easter. I missed your show putting the lamb on the spit. Sounds like Tai is Greek. Achievement. So does this podcast count as a crossover, DLC, or a remake of Xbox 2?
Well, DLC is a very, very naughty word these days.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about that. And Gaz had
David
Jaffe on his show.
Did it?
I don't know. I know people don't like David Jaffe. The only reason I have a soft spot for him is because he made one of my favourite games of all time.
Didn't know you liked Drawn to Death so much.
In God of War. He made one of them, and I'm like, a guy that makes a game that good, like, can he be that bad? I mean, I'm sure he probably is, because we have other examples of that in the world. But, yeah, and then I heard his comment about DLC, and I'm like, he's not that wrong. I mean, if I adore... And this is coming from someone who voted... I mean, I'm permabanned on Reset, but you can go check my 2018 vote for Game of the Year. It was God of War. I love God of War. It's literally my favourite PlayStation franchise. But in the end, and this is where people talk about cross-gen and old consoles holding back new consoles, God of War looks the way... Ragnarok looks the way it does because it has a PS4 to release on. That's why people look at it and go, oh, you can't tell them apart. That's why.
Is God of War Ragnarok coming this year, Nick? Tell him.
Yes. Yes, it is. 100%.
PlayStation fans everywhere rejoice.
100%.
Yeah, the animation director said it was. But what else is it supposed to say, I suppose?
No. It's coming. Santa Monica, I have always said, is arguably, like Coalition, is probably one of the most technically competent studios out there. Coalition, Santa Monica, Insomniac, probably three of the tippity top. But in the end, they can't perform miracles. So when you look at Ratchet and Clank, and everyone, the number one thing people spoke about with Ratchet and Clank was the visuals. Part of the reason that game could look the way it did was because it was a PS5 only game. That's a part of the reason it could look like that. Santa Monica, if they were freed of the PlayStation 4 and only had to work on the PlayStation 5, I think you would see something just off the charts. It would make God of War 2018 look ugly. That is what I think Sony Santa Monica could do. I think they could make God of War 2018 look like an ugly game. That's how good I think they are. Same way Hellblade 2. What we saw of Hellblade 2 just looked... I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, it looks bonkers.
Never.
They released a really cool screenshot of it earlier this week.
I saw some people saying Hellblade 2 looks like... doesn't look very good, though.
Who?
Let me guess. Did they prefer Platform X?
Maybe.
By any chance? Yeah, maybe. No. Right now, as of right this second, there's nothing out there that looks like Hellblade 2. As of right now. I don't care what anyone says. That's just my opinion, but whatever. But Santa Monica Unleashed on PS5?
Maybe in
right
4 or
up there.
5 years.
You're right up there. But yeah. Anyway, that was quite a tangent. DeoGame. Hello, everyone. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, so I'll shoot my shot. When do you think we'll hear about Microsoft's E3 plans? Edit. Also, do you think we could see studios alternate on Halo, especially as ABK studios are freed from the COD mines? Yeah,
will the Activision studios be freed from COD though?
Yeah, don't know about that. Not for a while.
I don't know. I'd like to believe Microsoft will free them of those shackles. But when do you think we'll hear about their E3 plans?
May.
I hope we still get that May show.
End of May. I looked last year. They announced their show May 26th.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
I mean,
Not too
in the era of digital events, you don't need a long lead in time.
That's right. I still hope we get the May show that I was told that was the plan.
What would be at this May show?
Don't know. I don't know.
Guess we'll find out.
GoldenEye? I don't know.
Nobody cares about GoldenEye in the year.
I care about GoldenEye. I care about GoldenEye. It's the most important game.
Give me an
coming out
actual
in
new
2022.
James Bond game, like the one IO Interactive's making. I'll care about
There you
that.
go. You're getting that one. So there you go. So what's the problem?
Nothing.
Everyone's happy. You get your new one and I get my old one.
Unbelievable.
Everyone's happy. Rand, you're starting to delve into that meme that it's not enough that I should succeed, everyone else should fail.
Others should fail.
You're starting to delve into that
Excuse
meme,
me?
Rand.
What do you mean?
You're starting to delve into that by telling me that I shouldn't get GoldenEye. You just want new James Bond. You're delving into that meme. We're both getting what we want. Be happy.
You've had GoldenEye though.
No, I want GoldenEye, modern GoldenEye. Like I got Perfect Dark on 360.
Modern GoldenEye.
Nintendo's not getting Nintendo wouldn't do anything with GoldenEye. Like we haven't got it on NSO. Like there's no new way to play GoldenEye outside of me setting up my Nintendo 64. Because even emulated GoldenEye is not great. So there's no way to play GoldenEye now. So I want GoldenEye. I really want GoldenEye
Next question.
in a legal way. Anyway. Creaky legs. Hello, lads. I got to air a few grievances. Halo Season 2 being 6 months again. I can't find excuses for it anymore. To me, there is a failure of 343's talented team on a management level. I agree. Game development is hard, but I've seen less exciting live service games, MMOs, etc. do so much more in their first year. We're getting 2 maps, a handful of game modes, and some more armors. That shouldn't take this long to produce any of that, correct? I also feel like they don't want to put Forge out because of the embarrassment the community will put on them when they have 600 incredible maps and modes by the end of the day that completely outshine anything 343 have done. I agree. I don't mean to sound so down on it, but I'm not excited for this season. I wouldn't even call it Season 2. It's more of a Season 1.2. Don't you mean 1.5? Which is just sad. Guess Halo Infinite multiplayer truly won't be great until it's too late, much like Halo 5. The only hope they have of a player resurgence is that it's at least free to play, which is probably the internal excuse used a lot. At least the Halo show is great, but I'm sad I didn't get to see more Chief Cheeks in Episode 5. Just a bunch of Covenant getting the beat down. But I'll live, I guess. We covered this at length.
We covered this, Creaky. I'm sure you would have been nodding.
We should have
along for
asked
the
this
most
back
part.
then.
Yeah, sorry.
We should have asked this
sorry
back
we
then.
missed this, but we
And Creaky knows I'm with him on all this stuff.
yeah.
I'm with him on all this stuff. I agree with basically all of it. Although I did never think about that Forge angle. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, the
I'd be very
community might
interested
put them
to
to
see.
shame.
I'm
Pretty
very
quick.
interested to see what the community does with it, for sure.
At least we get some new maps. Quickly.
That you would.
Philaxis. I can't believe the timing on this question from Philaxis, because I just saw the latest episode with Josh Brolin. Greetings, fine gentlemen. How do you think you'd handle the hot sauces on the Hot Ones by First We Feast on YouTube? I've always been keen to try it, as you can buy the sauces. Have you watched Hot? That's such a good show.
I've watched loads
It's
of Hot
such
Ones.
a good show.
It's great. And it gave me an idea.
What?
Coming up to Christmas this year. Last year we did
Yeah.
the Friends quiz.
We're doing the Friends quiz every year.
Sure, but this year, what if we get a selection? Both of us will order them.
I don't do spicy, though. I've said that up front. I don't do
either.
spicy.
That's why it'll be funny.
So why would I put myself through that?
Because it's for our beautiful team's entertainment and the community.
For the
community,
content.
let us know. Let us know if you think this is good. I'm willing to sacrifice my taste buds for this, but we get not all of them. Not do 8 wings, but we
A zinger, a KFC zinger is spicy for me.
No, come on, man. I can handle a zinger.
I can handle it, but I feel it.
Wings. We get 4 wings, and at the end of the show, like we.
I'm not doing
the
the bomb. I'm not doing the bomb.
Yeah, we got to do the bomb. That's part of the.
Not doing the bomb. That's the one that everyone nearly throws up at. I'm not doing the bomb.
You cook them at your end. I'll cook them at my end, and then we'll sit here and we'll dab one just for lols. Think about it. I'm putting the gauntlet down. There you go. That's my tangent. I loved this question. It's a great show.
Watch the Josh Brolin episode.
I will give
it
really good. Do you watch Hot Ones, Rand?
No, I do not.
You should.
It's
funny.
It's good.
Funny stuff.
And the guy that conducts the interviews is really good.
Yeah,
he's very good at what he does. It's a good show.
Yeah.
Good old Collingwood. Hello, John, Nick, Jesse, and welcome back, Ran. Elden Ring is almost certainly going to be the front runner for Game of the Year on almost every list. Starfield is likely to be the other front runner, unless God of War Ragnarok makes it this year, which it will. What would it take for Starfield to be crowned Game of the Year over Elden Ring? The qualities of Elden Ring are already well known. Would Starfield have to do what Elden Ring does but better, or would Starfield's features be different but better than those of Elden Ring? Or is it worth trying to compare what are going to be 2 different games? They are 2 very different games.
I'll answer first. There's even no guarantee Starfield will get there, even based on its release date. It could pull a Forza Horizon.
Oh, yeah, it could miss the cut.
I mean, because it releases on the 11th, 11/11. And Forza didn't make... I think Forza didn't make it because it's a racing game in general, but there's the possibility that if review codes don't come out early enough, that not enough people have played it to the point where like it doesn't get nominated because of it. So there's that. Honestly, after playing Elden Ring, I don't see any other game outside of God of War Ragnarok competing with it for the Keeleys. Now, other websites will have their own Game of the Year awards, and Starfield will probably win some. But for the Keeleys, I think Elden Ring is a complete shoo-in. Because the people who vote on the awards are the people who reviewed that game. And they all reviewed that game and basically gave it hundreds. And I expect God of War Ragnarok to probably score around the same as the first game. And so I think Elden Ring is going to win. I think it's going to score around. I mean, God of War is like a 94, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that's...
I anticipate a lot of feels too much like the first game.
Sure, but even if
85.
it like drops down to a 91, I mean, like most games do not get into the 90s anymore.
I know.
So
I could see it being a high 80s game.
I personally think
because of that.
I personally think Elden Ring is going to win, and the only chance that it had of being beaten was by Breath of the Wild 2, but obviously that's not coming till next year. So
I think Starfield could do it. I reckon it could. And this is coming from someone who has openly said many, many times, I have zero interest in Starfield. Zero. Less than zero.
Yeah, because you don't have any interest in anything Xbox, though.
That's a separate story. But I don't know. I just have this weird feel. I just have this hunch about Starfield, man. I don't know why. I've just got this weird hunch, despite the fact that I have no interest in the game. I have this hunch that it's going to be massive. I don't know why. I don't even care about Bethesda's games. I just have this gut feeling.
I think it's going to be very well, but I think Rand is right in that, it's rare to see a game succeed and be as universally praised as Elden Ring in today's modern gaming world. And while Starfield might be absolutely adored, I think there'll be enough detractors of it, especially you chuck in the bias and the I'm annoyed that this isn't on my platform of choice crowd, and it won't succeed in the same way. I think you are right. It will still be massive. It will still be a huge event. It will be the moment that publications will go out and go, yeah, this is a must-have. This is a must-buy. This is a reason to go and buy an Xbox. I think that will happen. But to get a Keeley, Yeah, you got to have, and I think that's where Elden Ring succeeds. It's a multi-platform title. It's got unified support across all of the bases: PC, console. This is only Xbox and only PC. That's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, it has a tax on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's just my opinion. But yeah,
it has its tax.
Who knows? Like, Starfield may not even win like best RPG because Elden Ring's an RPG too. So
yeah. It's true.
That's tough because, I mean, a 97 Metacritic, or there's a 96 now. Either way.
It's high.
And I do agree with Nick. Starfield is going to be massive. You're on PC on Steam, right? It's the first new IP from Todd Howard's in forever. You're on Game Pass, on console and PC, mobile.
A genuine visual upgrade.
Yeah, it's probably going to be... If you look at Elden Ring as biggest game so far this year, then Modern Warfare 2, you're probably looking at like one of the top 5 biggest games of 2022. You know,
I'm not even talking sales perspective though.
Well, I'm just talking like just the air around the room and the marketing and everything's because they're already doing marketing of it, like, you know. So Starfield's going to be absolutely massive. So
they were marketing Starfield last year, remember that?
I remember.
Remember who said they were going to be doing marketing for it?
Yeah, but we lost out on it coming out last year, though, Nick.
I didn't say it would. That's a common misnomer. I didn't say Starfield would come out last year. I said I thought it would, based on the fact that they're marketing it in 2021. Because why would you buy marketing time in 2021 if you didn't think your game was releasing in 2021?
Because you wanted to buy ad space to run that trailer.
I think it's because they thought it was 2021. And then when Halo had to get pushed, it changed things. And they thought, okay, well, we've got Halo releasing. Take another year.
Hopefully it's a very
what I think happened.
Polished game at the end.
That's what I think happened, personally. But yeah, I don't know. Like you said, the zeitgeist size. I think it'll be just that game that dominates talk and all that sort of stuff. It'll just be, I don't know. I just think it'll be massive,
it'll be
massive
Christmas, game. For sure.
Just a feeling.
Bigger than Hogwarts Legacy if it comes. Well, Modern Warfare 2. I mean, Modern Warfare 2 is going to be pretty big.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. Personally, I can't wait for Modern Warfare 2. That's the one I'll be going for. I'll be going for Modern Warfare, not Starfield. I don't know. I just think Starfield's going to be the next big thing. I don't know why. Okay. Next. Kraken56. Hello, panel. Love Rand's content. Always feel like, for the most part, he thinks like I do about Xbox.
Ooh.
After years of waiting, this next showcase for Xbox feels like the one that will be what everyone has asked for. Big budget games with gameplay.
What was that look he just gave there? What was that look?
I'll explain after
This
the
is
question.
anti-Xbox rhetoric. Rand.
No, it's my Chris Hemsworth. Is it though? Big budget games with gameplay that aren't the traditional big three from Xbox, hopefully. I think the consensus will be this is what people have wanted for a long time. I don't expect Perfect Dark or Fable, but I think Starfield, Redfall, Avowed, and maybe Hellblade 2 gameplay will be enough. But you can't make everyone happy. That's true. What do you think the consensus from the community will be after this showcase? Will this be seen as the start of a new era from Xbox's first party?
Yes.
Remains to be seen. Remains to be seen.
And that's what my face was about.
Because, and this was a topic that I talked with Miles with last week, because the last 2 years have been very easy to predict what Xbox was going to show, because you knew what they had and you knew what was ready to be shown and what couldn't be shown, right? This year is one of the first years where they could show anything and everything. So it's tough to like pick and choose. Like, they could show Perfect Dark if they wanted to. They could show Fable. Yes. They could show Contraband. They could show Avowed. They could show they could show anything from almost every one of their studios. And then you add in Bethesda. They could show something from id. They could show something from Machine Games, right? But there's obviously not going to be enough time. There's going to be stuff taken up by third parties. There's going to be, we need segments dedicated to Forza Horizon 5 expansion and a segment dedicated to Halo Infinite roadmap with Battle Royale and stuff. So you're going to have stuff to cut. So it's going to be difficult to be like, do you have Hellblade 2 gameplay after you just showed Hellblade 2 at the Game Awards? Or do you so there's a lot of things they can do.
But I think they're doing 2 shows.
Potentially. Yeah,
I think they're doing a separate we talked about this. I think they're doing a separate Bethesda show hosted by Pete.
I think that's the wrong thing to do. I mean, I guess it depends on when the separate Bethesda show is.
I think they're together. I think they're like a day apart.
Oh, okay. If they're a day apart, you see, I'm still of the opinion that you need to educate consumers that Bethesda is Xbox at this point because they still haven't released a game on Xbox yet. I still think combining them is the right way to go, but if you're trying to like play nice with Bethesda and give them autonomy, and they want to do their own show, okay, fair enough, day apart, whatever. So
having them a day apart, it gives you more, keeps you in the news cycle more.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say well, Xbox is in June, and then like Bethesda's would be in September, and I'd be like,
no, nothing like that. I meant like together, like day 1 Xbox, day 2 Bethesda.
I think what people want is especially what I want is I want to see gameplay of stuff coming soon. So I want Redfall, Starfield.
Yeah.
But then I really want to know what's next year because everything that Xbox has done since 2020 has played out exactly like I thought. Knew 2020 was going to be light. Knew 2021 was going to be light to the end. And we knew 2022 was going to be light until the end. So like, and you're out there publicly, Matt Booty, Phil, you're talking about, hey, our goal is 1 big game a quarter. I mean, they're out there saying that's their driving, motivation.
Yep.
And you have all these games, you have all these studios you purchased in 2018, 2019, Bethesda in 2020, and they haven't delivered anything from any of those studios. Like, yeah, okay, Ninja Theory delivered Bleeding Edge and Obsidian delivered Grounded, but those were already in the works and being made when they were acquired. So it's like people want to see the fruits of those acquisitions, and they want to know if 2023 is going to be the beginning of Xbox, putting money where their mouth is. Do you have a game in February? Do you have a game in June? Do you have they want to know if you're actually going to do what you said you're going to do, right? So I think this is going to be, well, see, it's tough because knowing Xbox still cuts stuff, which is going to be like, why are they going to cut stuff?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm personally looking forward to seeing gameplay of these titles because we're at that point now, and I want to know, okay, what do you got for next year? Show me this. When's Avowed coming? When's Hellblade coming? I don't want to have to watch this show again, and then like 2020 where they showed all this stuff and nothing had a date, nothing had a year.
Yeah.
I want and same thing happened last year for the most part. I want to be able to walk into, sit down and watch the show and see Hellblade 2023, Avowed, 2023, Contraband 2020. I want dates next to stuff because we've been kind of living on the promises that Xbox has essentially made with all these acquisitions and stuff. And it's at that point now where it's like, all right, time to deliver.
Yep.
Hopefully you can deliver better than 343. So,
I think
next year has to be that year. To be that year.
Xbox has a tendency to, and I think they've done it right previously. They've been like, "Hey, here's everything that is coming this year or in the immediate 4 or 5 months, and then here's everything that we're working on next year." And then they might tease out a few further out things right at the end, right? And I think they'll stick to that tried and true. I think they'll give us a good look at 2023. With maybe a couple of Hail Marys because I think the one thing that they've always missed on, and it's Nick and I have had this conversation about how they just don't seem to get it, the marketing aspect of what an E3 is. Like when we talk about the E3 of dreams, they have so many studios now that they could bring so many dreams to life and make it the show where everyone's, you see all the reactions on YouTube. And I think this is the year they could genuinely tick all of these boxes. Here's Q3, Q4 2022. Here's Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 2023. Oh, and here's nebulous future, but mind-blowing projects that are going to blow your mind, because why the hell not? Like, if they did a mixture of that, perfect E3. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you even because just thinking about it, like Bethesda, like we don't know what Bethesda's working on after Starfield and Redfall. Like, what's it working on? What's Arcane or what's ZeniMax Online working on? Right? Like,
there's rumors floating around.
Well, there's rumors floating around, but we haven't seen it. How close is Machine Games Indiana Jones? Are Machine Games also working on a Wolfenstein game? Right? There's rumors that Arcane has another game. What is that one studio, like people who used to be Human Head? Roundhouse. Like, what are they doing? So, I mean, there's a lot, even the Bethesda studios, where you're just like, okay, what are you doing? And then, like, Activision, Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 are next year. And presumably, Xbox will own those next year. Right? Yeah. They'd own it. And then it's like you have a smorgasbord of content you could potentially show, right? And we didn't even in Exiles, Project Cobalt RPG,
Compulsion,
right? Compulsion's Project Midnight. Like, they could show all that stuff. So it's super exciting, because
it's great.
It's like it's finally at the point where it's like, all right, I knew 2020 and 2021 and 2022 were going to be light. And it's like 2023 is supposed to be the start. And it's just kind of like, all right, Xbox, now it's time. Now it's time. People are excited. You got Nick saying 18 million consoles for Xbox Series X and S, right? People are more excited about it than ever. And it's time to show off them games. It's time to show off what the studios have been working on, so.
They've got the momentum.
This is it.
See it home in May or June or whatever.
State of Decay 3. Phil was very excited about State of Decay 3.
Yeah. Which was really amusing that was the game he brought up, and then there was this big.
Well, it's because he loves State of Decay.
The story.
He loves State of Decay, though. He loves State of Decay too. So
anyway,
it's exciting, man.
We're coming up on 3 hours, and I've got to wrap in 10. So,
but you know what would suck, though,
questions.
John? You know what
would suck?
We watch it. Nothing has dates except Avowed, and the only game coming out in 2023 is Avowed.
That would kill me. I'd die.
Can you imagine this show? Can you imagine what Nick would say the next day?
Oh, I don't want to. It would be like a 5-hour podcast of soapbox ranting.
Everything was 2024 and 2025 and beyond.
Oh, it'd be terrible. Don't
let me
down.
DeoGame has a quick super chat. Skullsy speculated a Starfield MMO. Heard anything? Yeah, I saw that tweet. No, I haven't heard anything.
Nope.
Not at all. I mean, they haven't even got Starfield out yet. They're already working on MMO.
Hold your horses.
Yeah. One step at a time. Cade Forever. Hello, panel and esteemed guest Rand. Nick, can you tell me why your character in the latest episode of Halo, who is usually cool, calm, and collected, attempted to full-on Superman punch Dr. Halsey like you were legendary MMA fighter George St. Pierre? I have not seen the latest episode.
It was the worst bit of the whole episode. I was like,
oh, was it?
So out of character, ridiculous.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, the in-show logic for it is what had just happened really fucked with him real hard, and he's sick of her lying.
Yeah, but it just felt because
well, based on episode 4, I can already understand why that probably is a thing in episode 5. Just based on episode 4.
Yeah, you'll see it. You'll laugh when it happens. I did. I was like, oh, cringe. Anyway.
I'm always weirded out by the Spartan dyeing her hair red, just out of nowhere. She was like, okay.
Well,
she's got a personality, though. That's good.
She's feeling things.
Yes.
But yeah.
Okay. Now on to the real question. As some of you have seen in the forum last night, there were some feelings about 343 doing something other than Halo, which I think would be great. Most people agree with me when I put out a voting poll. Other individuals cannot fathom the smallest iota of the idea that 343 could make another franchise other than Halo. Why is this? Why are people so keen on being hostile and subjugating 343 to only working on one game? The only response I got was they were built specifically for Halo. But does it need to stay this way for all of eternity? Why can't they do both and support Halo while doing something new and exciting? I'm sure all those artists, designers, writers have other wonderful ideas and concepts for new universes. Anyway, your thoughts? I pretty much agree.
On paper, yeah, sure, they could go off and do that, and I'm sure that those developers that work there may have ideas for other things. But here's the rub, is they're not there to work on other things. They're there to work on Halo. And if they don't want to work on Halo, they leave.
Darkwing Duck.
Yeah,
things change.
It may be
not only
if
that,
this
you know what?
10-year plan goes to pot, which is not looking great right now.
How about we meet in the middle? I'll meet you in the middle. They don't have to work on something other than Halo, but how about they take Halo and do something else with it?
Yeah, that's the only thing I think you'll find that they will do is.
So instead of having splash damage,
yeah,
do something Halo related. They do it. They do a Halo Tactics. They do Halo Horror RPG. They do Halo whatever. So there's still Halo, but different. It's not just the Halo first-person shooter thing.
Yeah,
it's a Halo something else. Meet you in the middle.
I think you'll see them do, but that's just me.
Because I mean, Coalition was the Gears studio too, and apparently they're doing something else. So if it's possible for Coalition, it should theoretically be possible for 343. Theoretically.
Yeah.
What's good for the goose should be good for the gander.
Good phrase usage.
Yeah, it's a bit old school, that one, isn't it?
I like it.
I am an old person.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
But yeah. I think they should be allowed to, but I also understand why it's not a thing. Like, if you apply for a job at 343, the assumption is you're doing it because you want to work on Halo.
Yeah.
That is the assumption. Otherwise, why do you want to get a job at 343 for? Because you know why the studio was built.
Because you need a job.
That too.
Yeah, I know, but like...
You want Halo on your resume?
Let's be honest, it's not like there's a shortage of jobs. Like, even just at Microsoft, there's hundreds and hundreds of them. If you're
maybe you like to create some art, make some Halo art,
But that's what I'm saying. So if you're working at 343, you're doing so under the assumption that you know you're working on Halo.
Darkwing Duck.
Things change.
We need an animated GIF for that.
Yeah. Last question. ShadowlessEdge. Hey guys, was fortunate enough to go to Bendigo Brickfest this weekend and saw some absolute incredible Lego builds, including this one that would go very nicely with Nick's shirt. Now, I don't know, is Jesse showing the picture?
He might be working on it right now. He's looking like he's clicking on things.
There's this really cool... Sorry?
It is showing.
It's showing? Yeah. Okay. It's the really cool Doom Lego thing, and I think he's saying that because I have a Doom shirt. But yeah, I had never heard of the Bendigo Brickfest, but I'm guessing that's a Lego thing out in Bendigo, which is country Victoria in Australia.
Oh.
Yeah, that looks really cool though. I like that Doom Lego thing. That would be very cool. My son is into Mario and Luigi Lego. That's the Lego that's all over my house. And Harry Potter. Lego everywhere from my daughter. Also picked up a sweet as Fast and Furious Dom's Dodge Charger set to build.
Nice.
Anyways, is there any fond memories you have of certain Lego sets, and with how good Lego Star Wars is, do you have any suggestions of untouched franchises we could see as Lego games?
I hate that Halo is forever linked to Mega Bloks.
Mega Bloks.
Like, I just do. All right? It's not as good as Lego. Okay.
It's Pepsi. It's the Lego. It's not Pepsi right. to Lego's Coke.
Yeah. But having said that, like my son is massively into Minecraft Lego, like in a really big way. And I happen to know he's got a very large set that I'll enjoy building with him tomorrow for his birthday. But I loved Lego as a kid. I don't so much love it now because yes, I end up stepping on a lot of it. It surprises you.
I was never a massive Lego kid.
Yeah, I remember when my parents gave us a tin of Lego. Oh, we found this Lego tin in the loft. Here, you can have it. And inside it was just a piece of the hull of my spaceship, my custom designed spaceship with my the 80s space guy from the Lego movie in it. And I was like, and it brought back all these memories of what my cool ship used to look like. It was all sleek and black, and I built it myself. And I was like, I'm rooting through. And someone was like, "Can I play?" I was like, "No, I need to build my ship again."
Yeah, see, the thing about Lego is I think Lego's better now than it was back in the 80s and 90s.
100%.
Lego is so much better now. Like the stuff they have and the detail that the pieces go into. And when I go into the Lego store here, I've got a Lego store like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes down the road in a major shopping centre. Some of the stuff in there is just, wow.
Bonkers.
Off the charts. It is just unbelievable stuff.
You a big Lego fan, Rand?
Nah, not really.
No.
Nah.
Like, oh man, I saw this cool Iron Man helmet. This little Iron Man helmet made of Lego. Oh, so good. I got a keyring. Like, we all got a keyring. So my son's got Spider-Man. I've got Iron Man. I can't remember who my daughter got. But we got these cool little Lego character key rings and stuff. Oh, the Lego store's cool. If you go into the Lego store.
From my son, and I'll show you in a second. Hang on.
I thought he was talking to someone for a sec. Lego game-wise, man, be good to get a Halo Lego game, but that's never going to happen.
I got this from my son when he was young. So I'll hold that up there.
Oh, there's Spider-Man. I've got that Spider-Man. And there's Wolverine. And there's Superman. And there's Hulk. I can see those. That's cool.
I love that I've got that. Like, that's really cute.
That's cool.
That was custom made as well. So he got to choose all the characters that went in there. I was like, oh, thanks, mate. But anyway, that's a nice sweet note to end the show on, isn't it?
What about a game, though? What franchise do you think could be made into a Lego game? I'd love Halo, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Gears. Lego would love
Gears.
that. 18 plus Lego.
Forza.
We already got Forza. We got Forza.
Dead Space.
Chopping things.
Well, yeah, it works because you're chopping. You got the cutter. You're just taking apart.
Franchise.
Be interesting.
Stranger Things.
Would work.
Yeah, that would work.
Reckon? I don't know about that.
Ghostbusters, Lego. Anything can be
Ooh,
Lego.
hey, I just saw a good one in the chat from the Sousa. Crackdown Lego.
Oh, God.
Ooh, yeah. Then we'd finally get the destruction we were promised.
Thank God Crackdown's a dead franchise.
We'd finally get the destruction we were promised. Because, you know, Crackdown, all the Lego buildings just come on down, and then you get the orbs, and Crackdown Lego would work super well.
Give me Recore 2 instead of another Crackdown.
As Lego?
No,
As Lego?
just in general. Just in general. How about a Rise 2? You know?
I'd like a Rise 2.
Yeah. Well, Rise 2 is rumoured.
That might be a thing.
Yeah.
Rise 2 is rumoured.
Maybe that's a secret
Quantum
2023
Break 2.
game.
Everything else on that Crytek timeline has happened.
Yeah.
Rise 2 is the last one left.
E3 dreams, people. E3 dreams.
Oh, yeah. Rise 2.
Is
Recore 2 should happen.
Is this the year that a new Banjo game is announced, Nick?
A new Banjo game?
Or a
Brand
remake?
new?
A Banjo game, whether it's a remake or a new one.
I predicted when we did a prediction 2022 predictions at the start of the year, and I said yes, Banjo remake this year.
All right.
And
what about
it's been my prediction every year for
a Persona game being announced for Xbox in the June showcase?
Hope so. For people that care about Persona. For people that care about Persona. Remember, see again, I know what you're getting at right now. I never said Persona's definitely coming to Xbox. I said they're trying to get it to Xbox. They are trying to. And that should be fairly obvious. Look at all the Japanese stuff they keep going out of their way to get.
Poor John's got to go, and we're still talking about stuff.
Sorry?
You haven't even talked talked about Crazy Taxi or Jet Set Radio.
The Super Game.
That suddenly, when everybody was like, the Sega deal doesn't mean anything, and then the article's like, some of these games might come on Game Pass. It's like, oh, wait a minute, but I thought the deal was nothing. Wait a minute.
No, I think people mistook Super Game. I think people thought Super Game was an actual game. I think what Super Game was, because remember, it's a partnership with Microsoft. And remember what they said? They were talking about their dev environment. I think that's what Super Game is. Super Game is Sega partnering with Microsoft and tapping into GameStack and all these other resources Microsoft has to create AAA games, like to change how they make their games. I think that's what Supergame was. But Supergame maybe is a dumb label for it because people took it as one supersonic AAA, quadruple A game that they're going to make. I don't think that's what it ever was. I think it was Sega saying, you know what? We need to move with the times and we need to change how we make our AAA games. We're going to partner with Microsoft to do that. That's what I think Supergame was. So that's why I saw that reaction to Jet Set and Crazy Taxi being like, what? That's what Supergame is. No. Supergame, their new process is going to produce, allegedly, a new Crazy Taxi and a new Jet Set Radio. So they're going to be built in a different way. That's how I interpreted Supergame.
It's pretty sweet news, though, for fans of those franchises.
Crazy Taxi, for sure. Just, they need to pay all the money in the world, whatever it costs, to get the Offspring on that soundtrack.
Yeah.
Without Crazy Taxi means nothing. The game is worthless without I'm sorry, but that's how intrinsically linked
it is.
They are to each other. That game doesn't exist without the Offspring. There will never in history, never again will we live to see a song, a real commercial song, so tied to the life of a game like The Offspring and Crazy Taxi. It's never going to happen again. We'll never see it.
Unless they redo it and they bring it back for this remake.
Now I understand why Wandering Dutch's podcast went 4 hours long.
Yeah,
Nick just keeps on rambling and rambling.
You got to step in, Rand. You got to step in. So there's a super chat, one last super chat from Tai.
Yeah, Tai Casares, a Dead Space game in the Halo universe, but you're a grunt would be great.
That'd be hilarious. Would it be a comedy at that point, like just with the grunt voicing? I'd play it. I'd play it. But look,
Crazy Taxi comes back and it's got the Offspring.
No.
And it's got the Offspring.
Let it live in your dreams. I'm calling it. It's 3 hours in. Yeah. Rand, my friend, thank you for joining us again for another episode of the XboxEra podcast. Would you like to just tell everyone that probably already is subscribed to you already right now where they can find you, how they can find you?
It's on YouTube, youtube.com/RandallThor19. All the socials there, the Twitters. All that good stuff. Xbox 2 probably on Monday. Videos will probably start back up real soon. And everything will be good. This is like the 10th time I've been on the show. It's amazing. Me and Grub are like the best guests. So...
thanks for reaching out to me and asking to be on the show. By the way.
Make sure you guys, when we're talking about the Xbox console sales numbers, make sure you catch John or Nick's little smirk. And Jesse, I hope you caught it when it happened, because that was a little smirk there. And it's just
maybe we GIF it. We'll GIF it and we'll call him out on Twitter and then get the whole Twitter.
Because you need to roll back and see it yourself.
It was pretty telling, wasn't it? It's a very specific guess. 18 point.
I said 18 to 18.2. I didn't say 18.2.
You said 18,344,125. I remember.
Yeah, it's not like I went 18,100,000. I just said it about 18. Like Sony reported 17.3. I'm just trying to.
Yeah. Anyway, chat, you've been lovely.
About 18.
Very well behaved. So thank you very much. For hanging out with us for 3 hours. Who'd have thought it? Always, every time, as soon as one of us says it's only going to be an hour and a half show, doomed. That's it. Every time.
We did talk about Halo for an hour, though.
We did talk about Halo.
That's what did it. That's what did it. The Halo talk did it.
Probably would have had like 500 people here, but everybody tuned out after 35 minutes of Halo.
Rant. Yeah, it's true. But guys, thank you very much for hanging out. We'll be back next week, and big thank you to Rand for joining us once again.
We are supposed to have MVG on next week.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
Or Grub. Maybe both.
One or both. Excellent. We'll see. Next week. It'll be fun.
Yep.
All right. Catch you later,
Thanks,
everyone.
Rand. Thanks, everyone.
Rand.
Ciao for now.